Chapter 897. When they just crawled out of the grave, they were all muddle-headed and were no different from walking corpses. Now that they're serving guests, they are very lively. Interesting. Wong Kai stood at the staircase with his hands behind his back. Looking at the beautiful girls, he couldn't help but squint his eyes. He couldn't feel any aura of death from their bodies. They looked and felt no different from normal people. However, the lifeless attitude they had when they crawled out of the grave couldn't be faked. There must be some kind of sorcery. Brother Long said with a frown. That's right. There must be something strange. It's not normal. Brother Tiger added. Hearing this, Wong Kai's mouth twitched. He pointed at the scantily clad beauties and laughed softly. Aren't you guys having a hard time holding it in? Seeing so many beauties surrounding you. Why are you still standing here? Why don't you go and make your move? The Dragon and Tiger brothers looked at each other and shook their heads and waved their hands. No, it will rot. Rot? Wong Kai grinned and was speechless. He didn't think that these two would treat it as real. Even now, they thought it would rot. Where did this idea come from? If that's the case, then you guys stay here and watch. Ben Shao is going to play. Wong Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Wong Kai had already blended into the crowd of beautiful women before the Dragon and Tiger brothers could react. As for the male guests, they weren't dissatisfied with Wong Kai's sudden addition. Instead, they welcomed him. They knew very well that Wong Kai had just joined the Ghost Tower. At the very least, he was a star monarch. Since they were all members of the Ghost Tower, why should they be angry with each other? Little girl, how old are you? Can you go and have a papa with your brother? Under the Dragon and Tiger brothers' gaze, they saw Wong Kai holding the hand of a beautiful girl who looked to be around 17 or 18 years old. What do you mean by having a papa? Brother Long frowned and asked. Little Tiger shook his head, clapped his hands, and said, Is that what you mean? I don't know what young master is implying. The pretty little girl smiled apologetically. At the same time, many of the guests and beautiful women who heard this also expressed their doubts. This was the first time he had heard the word papa. Wong Kai narrowed his eyes and explained in detail, It's very simple. The meaning of papa is to have sex with Ben Shao. Oh, to put it simply, it's to enter the bridal chamber. In the darkness, you and I face each other. Our eyes meet, our bodies overlap, and we float up and down. The sound of papa is the meaning of papa. Whoosh. As his voice fell, the surroundings were completely silent. Many guests widened their eyes and racked their brains. They never thought that the so-called papa actually meant this. Those beautiful women's red lips were slightly agape at this moment. A strange light flashed across their beautiful eyes, filled with disbelief. This was especially true for the pretty woman whose hand was being held by Wong Kai. She could not help but grin. F***CK. So that's what papa means. Brother Long said in a daze. Young Master Kai is indeed fierce. Even the matters between men and women can be so civilized. Little Tiger also nodded his head in admiration. The two brothers obviously looked as if they had learned something new. This young master, although I really want to papa with you for a night, I'm really sorry. The Ghost Tower has a clear rule. Cultivators who can be served by us sisters must be at least in the Star Emperor realm. Cultivators who can be served by most of us sisters must be in the Star God realm. The pretty girl covered her face and smiled. Saying such words, she did not blush at all. Her expression was also very normal, as if it was not much different for talking about a normal meal. Being served by one person and being served by many people, only Star Emperor realm and Star God realm cultivators have a right to enjoy. Star Emperor realm and Star God realm cultivators, if they want to play with women, it shouldn't be difficult, right? Why do you have to? Wong Kai narrowed his eyes and closed his mouth halfway. He did not make his meaning so obvious. However, the people around him understood it very clearly. If Star Emperor realm and Star God realm cultivators wanted beautiful women, they could definitely get them anytime and anywhere. If that was the case, why did they have to come to the Ghost Tower and find the company of the Ghost Tower's women according to the requirements of their realm? This question was also the thought of many people whose realm was not enough. although the minimum requirement to enter the ghost tower was the star monarch realm, and the purpose was nothing more than to find a woman in the ghost tower to have some fun. Star monarch realm cultivators did not have a right to enjoy the matters between men and women with the ghost tower's women. Our skills are very good. The pretty girl covered her face and said sweetly, "He ha ha ha." At the same time, the beautiful women in the surroundings also laughed along. Their laughter was so beautiful that it caused many cultivators to laugh awkwardly as well. However, from the lustful light in the eyes of those cultivators, it was not hard to see that what they came to the ghost tower was this feeling that they had never enjoyed before. Female ghost companions, and they claimed to have good skills. What kind of feeling was this? Good skills? You mean it's good? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly and asked with a surprised expression. This was the first time that Wang Kai heard a woman say that his skills were good since he started cultivating. That's right, and the feeling of being served by one person and being served by many people is also different. It will definitely make the guests feel as if they are floating in the air and want to die. The pretty little girl blinked her beautiful eyes and licked her red lips seductively. It was clearly seen that the little tongue had grown a lot longer, and it was still curling. The frequency and shape of the tongue were extremely changeable, and it was very nimble. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai could not help but swallow his saliva. Just with this mouth technique, it was enough to make men yearn for it, right? Moreover, everyone was very clear that their skills were definitely not limited to just this. Damn it, looks like I have to hurry up and cultivate and break through to the Star Emperor realm. Even if I can't get the qualifications to be served by many women, I can at least try the skills of one woman. Many Star Monarch realm cultivators were secretly annoyed. Now, they could only talk and laugh here, drink, and watch the dance. At most, they could only satisfy their cravings. But as long as they reached the Star Emperor realm, they could spend the night with a woman from the Ghost Tower. If they reached the Star God realm, they could even have fun with many women. Tiger brother, that tongue, it's so powerful. Brother Long said dryly. Hearing this, Tiger brother nodded heavily and said eagerly, I'm afraid this is only one of their skills, and not the only one. Should we go over? If at night we can. But Brother Long, what if it rots? Chapter 898. Do you think Ben Xiao, who is so talented, who can walk through the solar system with just a shake of his butt and a twist of his waist, is someone that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can challenge? Wang Kai smiled proudly with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. That's right, to be able to fight with our young Master Kai, you'll have to have the good fortune to do so. The Dragon and Tiger brothers looked at each other and laughed proudly in unison. Arrogant. Where did this ignorant idiot come from to actually dare to brag about walking through the sun? Why don't you say that you sat on the moon and died? That's right, if you don't dare, just say that you don't dare. Why do you need to talk so much nonsense? Everyone sneered and refuted with disdain. They all treated Wang Kai's words as a coward who didn't dare to accept the challenge. Bullshit. When our young Master Kai walked through the sun, we were there. That's right. Do you remember a few days ago when the sky turned dark for no reason? That was caused by young Master Kai walking through the sun. He had already walked through the sun several times. The Dragon and Tiger brothers rolled their eyes and shouted as if they were telling the truth. Hearing these words, everyone naturally didn't believe it. If Wang Kai really had such ability, why didn't he directly show it? For such an awesome powerhouse, was there a need to deliberately mystify and show weakness in front of everyone? Wasn't that purposely showing off? Little did they know that Wang Kai was purposely showing off. Hee, this brother's right just now. Not only did Ben Xiao walk through the sun, he also sat on the moon and crushed it. More importantly, he blew up countless stars with a piss. Wang Kai smiled indifferently with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hiss hiss. Once these words came out, many of the cultivators couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Even the girls from the ghost tower were frozen in place. Their beautiful eyes were wide open and filled with disbelief. No one would have thought that Wong Kai would be so good at bragging. Moreover, he bragged so vividly that it was as if it was real. More importantly, he didn't blush at all. Young Master Kai's bragging really makes it hard for me to smooth things over. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Longhu and Longhu were speechless. There should be a limit to how much they could praise Wong Kai, who knew that they would become addicted to it, and the more they praised, the more ridiculous it became. Cut the crap. I'm asking you if you dare to go out and fight. That's right. If you really have some ability, why do you have to fake it here? Hee hee, you can't be a piece of trash who is strong in appearance, but weak in reality, right? His mouth is awesome, but in reality, he's nothing but a piece of sh*t. Haha. In an instant, the entire place was filled with laughter. The laughter came in waves and was filled with disdain and contempt. I've really given you guys some face, haven't I? All of you kneel down before Ben Xiao. Wong Kai frowned and shouted with a cold expression. Buzz. Bang, 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 bang. Rumble. In an instant, under this shout, the extremely terrifying astral source pressure rolled straight out, immediately suppressing all the cultivators present. All of their faces turned pale, and their bodies involuntarily knelt down, some even lying on the ground. In an instant, the entire floor was silent. Other than the sound of tables and chairs being smashed, there was no other sound. This is a dominator. Yeah, he's actually a dominator. Heavens, I didn't think that we would have the fortune to meet a dominator's vice house master. Suddenly, the beautiful ladies of the ghost tower all stared at Wong Kai with shining eyes. Some even blinked their eyes and threw flirtatious glances at him, especially the delicate little beauty who was closest to Wong Kai. She even reached out her small hand and touched Wong Kai's chest. Those 2 points could be said to be in deep water and scorching heat. With regards to such ridicule, Wong Kai, who was caught off guard, couldn't help but stare blankly. Cough, cough, all of you get up. As the vice house master of the ghost tower, it's natural for you to kneel down or even prostrate yourself before Ben Xiao when you see him. However, remember not to do it in the future. It really makes Ben Xiao embarrassed. Wong Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a mocking smile, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th rank dominator. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next rank. You've received 100 star source points." With these words, those who were forced to kneel on the ground were shocked and horrified. At the same time, they were also furious in their hearts. This was clearly an action forced by the star source pressure. What did it have to do with the sincerity of bowing? Besides, is that how you express your shyness? It was obviously a joke, okay? Damn it, he's actually so strong. However, although they thought that way, everyone couldn't help but think. As a dominator, even if he didn't use his cultivation to force them to bow, everyone would take the initiative to bow to him, right? After all, Dominator was the strongest kind of expert in the sky domain. We have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. We hope that Vice House Master will forgive us. Everyone shouted loudly. Their tone and expression were all extremely respectful. No one felt ashamed or angry about bowing down to a dominator. Similarly, no one would look down on them because of this. Because Dominator was indeed in an invincible state in the sky domain. Perhaps it wasn't absolutely invincible, but it was still one of the top almighties. Sigh, Ben Xiao said before that he doesn't casually duel with others. It's just that I've never met a worthy opponent since I started cultivating till now. There's no one who could even exchange blows with Ben Xiao. Who can understand the loneliness of such an expert? It's too cold at the top. Wong Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Too cold at the top? The corners of everyone's mouths twitched slightly. They really couldn't understand Wong Kai. According to what he said, it should be lonely at the top. However, he said that it was too cold at the top. Although the meaning was similar, the concept was simply too different. We're all sovereigns like this, people who love to act mysterious and didn't have enough of posturing. With trash like you naturally won't understand young Master Kai's suffering. Get up immediately and come out with a few star gods to exchange blows with us brothers. Brother Long shook his shoulders and said, "Yeah, I haven't been moving much recently. My body feels a little uncomfortable." Tiger younger brother also shook his head and pretended to be pretentious. Could it be that they're also very strong? Could it be that they're also dominators? No, that's impossible. When did so many dominators appear in the no-broken region? They're at most star gods. That's right. Thank you, fellow Taoist. Piao Hong's tip in August. Thank you, fellow Taoist. Diving, disappearing from the network's tip. I'm ashamed that I'm late. Sorry. Chapter 899. Everyone frowned. They didn't challenge Wang Kai like they did before. It was because Wang Kai's deterrence and surprise were too strong. If these two brothers were also ridiculously strong, wouldn't they lose face? Moreover, as Wang Kai's subordinates, even if they could defeat them, they would have to pretend that they couldn't, right? Since that was the case, what was the point of standing out and fighting with them? Wouldn't that be asking for trouble? Your cultivation is unparalleled. We admit our inferiority. Yes, we admit our inferiority. Although we would like to spar with the two seniors, I'm afraid it would be difficult for the two seniors to enjoy themselves. For a moment, everyone had their tails between their legs, afraid that Wang Kai and the others would forcefully suppress them again. They had just saved their lives, and if they were to do it again, it was unknown whether they would still be alive. Don't worry, any two peak 9th grade Star God Realm cultivators will spar with the two brothers. No matter who wins or loses, Ben Shao will reward them heavily and won't hurt anyone. Wang Kai waved his hand and said with an indifferent smile. The Dragon and Tiger brothers did this because they wanted to absorb cultivation so that they could have fun with the girls from the ghost building. Since that was the case, Wang Kai would naturally grant them their wish and help them. Otherwise, if they absorbed Wang Kai's cultivation, the Dragon and Tiger brothers would also be able to reach the same level as him, the 7th grade Sovereign Realm. However, the price would be the loss of their own cultivation, and if they wanted to recover, they would have to waste bragging points. With a ready-made cultivator to absorb cultivation, Wang Kai was naturally happy to watch from the sidelines. That's right. Young Master Kai has spoken. Quickly send out two peak 9th grade Star God Realm brothers. Don't worry, we brothers will definitely not beat you. The Dragon and Tiger brothers looked at each other and said with a grin. It could be said that they had resolved all the awkward situations that would happen later. If they wouldn't beat them up, then when they fought, wouldn't they be taking a beating? These two brothers, Wang Kai shook his head and smiled. In fact, if he did not want them to absorb his cultivation, it would be easy. If he wanted them to absorb his cultivation, he would just have to make the system give up resisting and let them do it willingly. However, if they were allowed to reach the Sovereign Realm, who knew how arrogant they would become? Wang Kai, right? Humph, you've just become my Ghost Tower's Vice House Master, and you're already showing off and using your power here. How happy! Suddenly, a voice resounded in his mind, causing Wang Kai to frown. Sensing the source of the voice, his eyes couldn't help but freeze outside the ghost pavilion. You're a spirit lord? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked telepathically, How dare you? He had to be more respectful when addressing the ghost lord. I am the same as you, the Ghost Tower's Vice Lord. The reason I came to find you this time is to bring you to the Ghost Realm and let you know clearly what a Deputy House Master should do. Not a spirit lord? Hearing this, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth suddenly twitched, and his expression was quite disdainful as he sneered. If it's not the Ghost Lord, why are you pretending to be here with this young master? Do you have a lot of free time? Take advantage of Bencheo's good mood and get lost quickly. Don't think you can leave later. You piece of trash. You piece of trash. As his voice fell, the owner of the voice was already stunned. He never thought that he had already made it clear that they were both Ghost Tower's Vice House Masters. In other words, they were both in the Sovereign Realm. However, he was still ignored by Wang Kai. Furthermore, he was threatened and looked down on. How dare you? You're only in the sovereign realm. How dare you? You really talk a lot of nonsense. Buzz. Gotcha. Suddenly, Wang Kai frowned. His expression was cold as he tore open the void with his bare hands. With a flash, he disappeared from the first floor of the ghost tower. Seeing this scene, many of the surrounding cultivators and ghost tower's beauties who were paying attention to him had a slight change in expression. Such an opportunity to befriend the Vice House Master was gone, just like that. What are you looking at? Hurry up and come out and fight with us, brothers. That's right. All the beauties have already washed up. Hold tight and wait. We brothers will have a good time with you. The dragon and tiger brothers laughed arrogantly. As for where Wang Kai went, they didn't have the slightest intention to find out. They were very clear that even if they wanted to find out, they wouldn't be able to. Looks like if I want to befriend the Vice House Master, I'll have to start with these two idiots. Sigh, whatever. I'll let you guys take advantage and have some fun. Many of the ghost tower's beauties looked at each other and shook their heads. They sighed inwardly. Since they couldn't get in touch with Wang Kai directly, the final method was to get in touch with Wang Kai through the dragon and tiger brothers. At the same time, in the void outside the ghost tower, dark clouds covered the sky. It was supposed to be a full moon, but at this moment, there was definitely no moon in the sky. Just now, it was you who acted pretentious in front of Ben Xiao, right? Dressing up so cold. How good are you at acting pretentious? Gotcha! As the void tore open, Wang Kai stepped out. Looking at a figure in a black robe and a black iron mask, he instantly sneered in disdain. You can actually find my location? You're not a low-grade dominator. The black-robed man shouted in shock. In such a short time, a cultivator who could find his location just by using sound transmission would at least have the same cultivation as him. And the black-robed man just happened to be a middle-grade dominator. Who told you that Ben Xiao is a low-grade dominator? Also, looking at your aura, you just stepped into the 4th-grade dominator realm. You're barely at the bottom of the middle-grade dominator realm. You, who are so weak, dare to come out and show off in front of Ben Xiao? How many heads did you bring? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and sneered with a playful expression. Whoosh! Once these words came out, the black-robed man's body stiffened. Before coming, if he knew that Wang Kai's cultivation was stronger than his, he wouldn't have come over to seek trouble. Even if he came, he wouldn't be as condescending as before. I'm here on the orders of the first vice building master. If you have any dissatisfaction, you can follow me into the ghost world and find the first vice building master to talk. The black-robed man said in a deep voice. From his trembling voice, it was obvious that he was afraid. First vice building master? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. With a flip of his hand, the black-robed man's neck was instantly pinched in his hand. He said indifferently, "What's your ranking?" The black-robed man didn't expect that Wang Kai would actually make a move. Now, even if he wanted to struggle, he couldn't move at all. 7th. 7th? After you, are there any other vice-building masters? Wang Kai asked curiously. No, I'm the weakest one. The black-robed man's body trembled slightly. He didn't dare to neglect and hurriedly answered. Chapter 900. Smack, smack, smack. The weakest one. Since that's the case, why are you still here to act tough? Don't you have the cheek? Don't you know that you'll break if you overdo it? Wang Kai frowned and raised his hand to give him a few tight slaps. The consecutive slaps made the 7th house master dizzy. Blood splattered everywhere and his teeth flew out. The flesh on his face rolled up and the roots of his teeth could be seen clearly. It was disgusting. Ahem. If I had known that your cultivation level was so high, I wouldn't have come even if you gave me money to act tough. The 7th house master said indistinctly while shaking his head. He didn't even come to act tough when he was given money. Upon hearing his words, Wang Kai couldn't help but smirk. He thought to himself, this guy's rather interesting. Even when he's being beaten up, he still sounds funny. What's the cultivation level of your first deputy house master? A high-rank dominator? Wang Kai frowned as he asked playfully. High grade? Ahem, high-grade dominator. 8th grade Dominator. It's only one level lower than a Ghost Venerable, the 7th House Master said frantically. The cultivation level of the Deputy House Masters and Ghost Venerables was no secret. As the Deputy House Master, Wong Kai would find out sooner or later. Since that was the case, there was no need to lose his life for the sake of hiding it. What's the level of star power? Wong Kai shrugged and asked. They're all level 9. I'm also level 9, the 7th House Master said. Level 9? Wong Kai couldn't help but frown. Although he had level 10 star power and was a 7th grade Dominator, he was only comparable to an 8th grade Dominator with level 9 star power. If he used the Heavenly Halberd and his star techniques, he might be able to defeat him easily. However, if he were to face a 9th grade Dominator with level 9 star power, the Ghost Venerable, he would be 1 grade lower. Even if he used the Heavenly Halberd and various Dominator star techniques, he would probably only be on par with the Ghost Venerable. If he wanted to win, he would definitely need the various functions of the system. After all, even if he had a Dominator star technique and a star weapon, it didn't mean that others didn't. Other than the system's functions, it was still very difficult to make up for the difference in combat power. Looks like I have to break through another realm and reach the 8th rank Sovereign Realm before I can be on par with the 9th rank Sovereigns like the Ghost Emperor. Wong Kai narrowed his eyes and thought to himself. Host, Wong Kai Profession, Star Warrior Realm. Rank 7 Dominator title, Peerless Bragging, Shaking the Universe Star Magic, Karma Great Tao Magic Star Techniques, Tao Tremor Punch, Absolute Isolation, Extermination Identification, Torch Dragon Aishidalis. Level 2 Equipment, Sky Piercer Star Power, Level 10 Star Source Points, 4,500 Bragging Points, 270000 Experience, 1000000050000 inch. I still need 40 million experience points to reach the 8th rank Sovereign Realm. Wong Kai casually glanced at it, then closed it with a thought. If he used Star Source Points to exchange for Star Source Points, let alone a mere 8th grade Sovereign, he could easily reach the peak of 9th grade Sovereign. However, he wouldn't become enemies with the Ghost Venerable now, so there was no need to exchange for Star Source Points. It was still good to avoid the system entering the update period later. Okay, you're very obedient, so Ben Shao has decided to spare your life. Hurry and get back to the so-called Ghost Realm. Tell the first Deputy Building Master that if he wants to see Ben Shao, he should come and see him personally. You have to know that it's an honor to be able to see such an elusive figure like Ben Shao, compared to him reaching the peak of the 9th rank Sovereign Realm. Wong Kai shrugged and smiled. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. The peak of the Sovereign Realm is not 9th rank, but 10th rank. It's the peak of the 10th major stage of cultivation. Cough, cough. The 7th House Master's eyes flickered, and he hesitated for a moment before reminding him. There was actually a 10th rank in the Sovereign Realm. The peak of the 10 major stages. When Wong Kai heard this, he frowned and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Along the way, he had already reached the final realm of the 10th major stage. Every major stage had dozens of minor realms. How much bragging did he have to do? Sigh, Ben Shao is really Asterisk King awesome. Oh no, it should be that he's so awesome that he pierced through the galaxy, destroyed the universe, and shattered the chaos. Wong Kai shook his head and sighed repeatedly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Pierced through the galaxy, destroyed the universe, and shattered the chaos. When the 7th House Master heard these words, he couldn't help but tremble. He stared at Wong Kai in disbelief. Even bragging could be used as a reason to brag. He was really amazing. Cough, cough, I'll take my leave. I'll pass on your words. Crack. As soon as he finished speaking, the 7th House Master tore through the void and disappeared in a flash. He was afraid that if he spent more time with Wong Kai, even if he wasn't killed by him, he would be blown to death by him. Vice House Master Wong, the halberd at your waist is not bad. It's not much worse than this sovereign. Suddenly, just as Wang Kai wanted to return to the ghost tower, a voice filled with astonishment entered his mind, calling himself this sovereign and comparing himself with the heavenly halberd. Ghost sovereign? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and couldn't help but take down the heavenly halberd at his waist. He waved it and said with a smile, "You're the first person to notice him." Even the sovereign realm's seventh house master didn't notice him. The heavenly halberd didn't look any different from an ordinary weapon. As long as he didn't show it off, it wouldn't attract attention in the eyes of others. Haha, I'm an artifact, and so is this halberd. Naturally, I can sense that it's different from others. Take this halberd, for example. It should be one rank lower than this sovereign. The ghost sovereign smiled faintly. There was a difference of 1 grade in power. Wang Kai wasn't surprised by this. The Fontian halberd was at the same realm as him. Compared to the ghost master, who was at the 9th grade of the sovereign realm, in addition to the increase in strength of the star force, the difference was naturally only 1 grade. If he reached sovereign realm 8th grade, the battle strength of both sides would be equal. Don't keep talking about this, halberd. I'm a heaven-devouring beast. Even if I'm 1 rank lower than you, it's hard to say who will win if we fight. Who knows, you might even be swallowed by me. Buzz. The heavenly halberd's black and white colors flickered rapidly. The voice of the heaven-devouring beast was heard. Her tone was filled with reprimand and unwillingness to accept the ghost sovereign. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and didn't stop her. Instead, he felt extremely proud of the heaven-devouring beast's arrogance. As his weapon, it should be so arrogant and look down on others. Ha, good. Very good. A weapon and its master have a similar temperament. When they're together, they'll be able to unleash stronger battle strength. The ghost sovereign wasn't angry. Instead, he laughed out loud and praised. Ghost sovereign, I'm afraid you didn't just talk to me about the heavenly halberd, right? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and placed the heavenly halberd at his waist. He smiled faintly. Chapter 901. Hee, there's nothing else. I just wanted to greet you. Looking at your cultivation, you shouldn't be stronger than First Deputy Tower Master Kong Kong. Moreover, there's a woman in the ghost realm who seems to be fated with you. All right, First Deputy Tower Master Kong Kong is Kongling's father, and the woman I'm talking about is one of Kongling's sisters. Whoosh! As the ghost sovereign's voice faded, Wang Kai's pupils abruptly shrank, and even his breathing became hurried. Kongling, that was the real name of the fake Sky Emperor. Jing Xian and Heartless Prime had ascended to Tianzhou with her. Since the Ghost Lord said that he was fated with her, then it must be Jing Xian. How do you know that they know Ben Xiao? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes, and his expression was cold. If this Ghost Lord wanted to use Jing Xian to threaten him and achieve his goal, then he was undoubtedly digging his own grave. Even if the system entered the update period earlier, Wang Kai would definitely use the Star Source points to reach the same level as the Ghost Lord, or even surpass him. Don't get too excited. There's a portrait of you in the cultivation area of the woman I'm talking about. Coincidentally, there's also a portrait of you in the cultivation area of Kongling and the other woman. You look exactly the same as the person in the portrait, and there's no difference at all. That's why The Ghost Lord smiled faintly. Portrait? Wang Kai was stunned. It was reasonable for Jing Xian to have a portrait of him. After all, it was hard to bear the feeling of missing him. But why did the fake Sky Emperor, Kongling, and Heartless Prime also have portraits of him? Could it be that they could orgasm and feel pleasure from looking at his portrait? The 3 women you're talking about, other than Kongling, were the other 2 called? Wang Kai grinned and asked with a speechless expression. They all had portraits of him, and Wang Kai began to wonder if it was the person he was thinking of. Oh, Heartless Prime and Jing Xian, who misses you deeply, the Ghost Lord said faintly. Whoosh! It really was them. Wang Kai's brows furrowed tightly. It seemed like the Heartless Paragon had placed his portrait in the training ground in order to remember him at all times so that he could take revenge in the future. Motherf asterisk Kerr, I let you escape last time. Let's see where you can run to this time. Ben Xiao had said that he was going to F*** CK him over. It seemed like it was time to fulfill his promise. And that Kong Ling, that little girl, don't even think about escaping. Wang Kai grinned and sneered in his heart. Looking at you, you seem to have agreed to go to the ghost realm, right? Oh, by the way, there's also a stupid cow who calls himself Neo-Jitian. He is also in the ghost world, but he is only close to Jing Xian. Neo-Jitian. Hiss. Phew, upon hearing this name, Wang Kai took a deep breath and exhaled. The joy in his heart could not be concealed. He had never thought that Neo-Jitian would also come to the Qingyun starry sky. He vaguely remembered that in the reincarnation world of the Celestial Emperor domain, Neo-Jitian had entered the reincarnation blood pool and finally reached the state of cocoon. Now it seemed like he had successfully broken through the seal. Moreover, his cultivation had reached an incredible level. He had reached the point where he could come to the Qingyun starry sky. It shouldn't all be the work of the reincarnation blood pool. It's most likely that the Tianji Elder is behind this, right? Wang Kai frowned and thought to himself. It was difficult to understand why the Tianji Elder had brought Jing Xian and Neo-Jitian to the ghost world of the Qingyun starry sky. Furthermore, judging from the Ghost Lord's words, they seem to be doing well. Next time, remember, don't call Neo-Jitian a stupid cow. He is Ben Xiao's brother. Call him Master Neo, understand? Otherwise, you will very likely be smashed to pieces by this young master. Wang Kai frowned and said with an indifferent expression, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Wang Kai did not care about the prompt at all. Currently, he was one level lower than the Ghost King. It was reasonable that he was weaker than the Ghost King. However, it would be easy to surpass the Ghost King. If I did not open the Ghost World, you would not have the qualifications and strength to enter. As my assistant, you have to respect me. The Ghost King said in a deep voice. Even if he had a good temper, he was extremely unhappy when Wang Kai said that. After all, in the Ghost King's opinion, Wang Kai was just the deputy leader, his assistant. Previously, he had tolerated him because of his cultivation. But now he was asking him to call Neo-Jitian Grandpa Neo. He even said that he was Wang Kai's brother. If that was the case, wouldn't Wang Kai be the Ghost King's grandpa? How could he tolerate this? What? You don't seem to like it. F***CKU. Don't play mysterious with Ben Xiao and pretend to be awesome. Let me tell you, as long as Ben Xiao wants to, he can destroy your shabby ghost building with a flick of his finger. Wang Kai frowned and snorted with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 8th grade sovereign realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next realm. You have received 100 star source points. Whoosh! The Ghost King was furious. The huge 7-story ghost building began to shake violently. Then, it shrunk and turned into a black-robed figure. It had no face. Black gas lingered in it. Even its limbs were formed by black gas. Its whole body was just a mass of black gas and a black robe. It looked quite eerie and terrifying. It was worthy of the name of the Ghost King. You are really disgusting. You actually put the cultivators who came to play into your stomach. F***CKU. You almost made Ben Xiao vomit. Wang Kai frowned and spat in disgust. Do you know what effect the bracelet on your wrist has? The Ghost King asked in a deep voice. Bracelet? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He couldn't help but raise his hand and wave it. Immediately after, he pointed his finger. With a crack, the bracelet shattered. Oh, its effect is not much different from setting off firecrackers. It just sounds. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled playfully. Now that he had reached the 8th grade sovereign realm and had level 10-star energy, his fighting strength was equal to the Ghost King. Naturally, he could destroy the bracelet easily. Moreover, even if Wang Kai had not reached the 8th grade sovereign realm, the bracelet would not cause any harm to him with the system's ability to ignore all restrictions. It could be said that from the beginning, when Wang Kai dared to wear the bracelet, everything was just fleeting clouds. The Ghost Lord shuddered when he saw this. He never thought that Wang Kai would be able to break the seal on the bracelets so easily. Chapter 902. The younger generation will surpass us in time. It's the first time I've met such a strange young generation like you. After a long while, the Ghost Lord let out a long sigh. He was extremely shocked that Wang Kai could take off the bracelets so easily. At the same time, he was also extremely amazed. Now that things had come to this, it was simply impossible to capture Wang Kai. What you're saying is nonsense. Bin Xiao is not from the younger generation. You should know that Bin Xiao has only been cultivating for less than a year. In fact, Bin Xiao's age has already reached hundreds of millions of years old. It's just that he didn't like to cultivate in the past. Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, the Ghost Lord suddenly fell silent. Naturally, he didn't believe Wang Kai's words. The reason why he was silent was that he couldn't stand Wang Kai's bragging. He didn't even know how to continue the conversation. All right, look at your useless, cowardly look. Quickly open the Ghost Realm, lest Bin Xiao personally take action and destroy your Ghost Realm, or even your Ghost Building. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing the prompt, Wang Kai didn't care at all. He was just a little surprised. It seemed that even if he reached the same cultivation level as the Ghost Lord, he still wouldn't be able to destroy his Ghost Building. Once you enter the Ghost Realm, it won't be that easy to come out. Have you thought it through? The Ghost Lord asked in a low voice. His tone was full of gloominess. It was as if he was threatening and intimidating him. What a joke. If you go in, you won't be able to come out. I'm not afraid to tell you that as long as this young master wants to, I can destroy the entire Qingyan Starry Sky anytime and anywhere. Any expert is nothing but a dog basket. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Even if he couldn't defeat a chaos martial artist after exchanging his Star Source points, it was still a piece of cake for him to surpass a Spirit Lord and destroy his Ghost Building. Since that was the case, what was there to be afraid of? Good. You could destroy the Qingyun Starry Sky Realm. In that case, you may enter. Wang. After the Ghost Sovereign's voice sounded out, a cluster of dark clouds slowly dispersed in the sky above the Ghost Pavilion. Within it, a large black door appeared. Everything that one could expect to see was clearly visible within it, including the sun, moon, mountains, and rivers. TSK. It's quite presentable. Seeing this, Wang Kai curled his lips and immediately moved his feet. His figure turned into a streamer and entered the door without hesitation. Ghost Venerable, what is his cultivation level? As the black door was covered by the dark clouds, the young man in official robes appeared beside the Ghost Sovereign. He looked at the dark clouds in the sky and asked with a frown. From his eyes, it wasn't difficult to see that he was worried. Wang Kai's actions had already brought fear to his heart. He's a little weaker than me. However, just now he should have reached the same level as me. Moreover, if we really fight, the possibility of my defeat is a little higher. The Ghost Sovereign put his hands behind his back and laughed self-deprecatingly. Even if he didn't want to admit it, he had to admit that Wang Kai was too unfathomable. He could tell that the main reason for Wang Kai's improvement in cultivation was the Sky Piercer's improvement. It should have been a little weaker than the Ghost Pavilion of the Ghost Sovereign's body. However, along the way, it reached a point where it was equal. As the saying goes, the weapon and its master are connected. The improvement of the weapon all came from its master. This also proved that Wang Kai's cultivation had improved again. If that's the case, if we let him enter the Ghost Realm like this, wouldn't the 7 Deputy Tower Masters be in danger? The young man in official robes frowned deeper. Are you talking about the girl called Jingxian? The Ghost Sovereign said faintly. In response, the young man in official robes gently nodded and said helplessly, The sons of the first Deputy Tower Master and the fifth Deputy Tower Master have a very persistent love for Jing Xian. If we let Wang Kai, this kind of eccentric person, go in, I'm afraid. Haha, that's good too. Let them understand that even if they're in the sovereign realm, they're considered the strongest in the Ghost Pavilion. You must know that there's always someone better than you, lest they become even more rampant and delusional to take me for themselves. What a joke. The Ghost Sovereign's tone was cold as he laughed softly. Hearing this, the young man in official robes shook his head and sighed. He waved his hand and said, Ghost Sovereign, it's reasonable to let the Deputy Tower Master suffer. Their crime of conspiring to turn you into a weapon for themselves is indeed worthy of death. However, our Ghost Pavilion has signed a contract with a sovereign realm expert. Let Wang Kai go in and teach them a lesson. Don't worry, Wang Kai probably won't kill them. Otherwise, would he still want to come out of the Ghost realm? The Ghost Sovereign waved his hand. He had a card up his sleeve, and his tone was quite confident. I hope so. Seeing this scene, the young man in official robes could only shake his head and sigh. At the same time, in the Ghost realm, it was the same as the outside world. The sun, moon, stars, mountains, rivers, dense forests, etc. It was no different from the normal human world. Mount Bobo, the name of this mountain, is very interesting. At the foot of a tall mountain, Wang Kai had his hands behind his back. He looked at the stone tablet beside him and couldn't help but grin. The name of mountains and rivers was not rare. Each of them was very domineering. However, this Mount Bobo was somewhat unacceptable. Buzz. Suddenly, Wang Kai waved his hand and immediately released his own pressure. In an instant, it swept across the entire Ghost realm. Every corner was filled with a strong pressure. Wang Kai, you're here. Whoosh. In less than a breath, there was a pleasant voice that resounded through the void. What followed was a beautiful figure in a white dress. She floated down from the top of Mount Bobo. Her appearance was peerless, and her figure was proud. She was like a fairy from the ninth heaven who had descended to the mortal world. Her temperament was cold, but at this moment, it was full of tenderness. She was like a shadow in the clouds, like an illusion in the fog. She was very charming. With just a glance, Wang Kai was already stunned on the spot. His eyes were lost for a moment. You're finally here. I miss you so much. Bang! Before Wang Kai could come back to his senses, Jing Xian, who was in a white dress, rushed into Wang Kai's arms with a burst of intoxicating fragrance. Her slender jade-like hands seemed to be soft and boneless, but they were very strong. They clasped Wang Kai's waist. Her delicate nose and beautiful face were in Wang Kai's arms, sniffing gently. It was as if she was addicted to Wang Kai's smell. Little Xian Xian, little Jing Jing, long time no see. When did you become so proactive and generous? If there was no one in the room, wouldn't you press Ben Shao to the ground and rub it hard? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and reached out to gently stroke her long hair. His tone was full of tenderness and love. Chapter 903. Bastard, do you know that I wandered around Tianzhou and was forcibly brought to the yellow domain, starry sky, by others? After several life and death situations, I escaped. Fortunately, Kong Ling and his daughter saved me, and I came to the Qingyun starry sky. During this period, I called your name countless times in my heart, but you never appeared once. Wang Kai, who thought that Jing Xian would be angry, saw her complain endlessly. In the end, her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. Her jade-like hands clenched into fists and beat Wang Kai's chest. That appearance was simply too pitiful. This was the first time Wang Kai saw Jing Xian like this. It had to be said that since ancient times, lovesickness was the most murderous. Kong Ling and his daughter brought you to the Qingyun starry sky. Wasn't it Tianji Elder? Wang Kai frowned and asked with a surprised expression. Why did he feel that something was wrong? Tianji Elder? I have never seen him before. To be able to come to the Qingyun starry sky was indeed caused by Kong Ling and his father. Jing Xian raised her jade-like hands, turned around, and wiped her eyes. It was not Tianji Elder who brought Jing Xian to the Qingyun starry sky, but the system said that it was Tianji Elder's doing. Wang Kai frowned deeply. He pondered in his heart for a while before coming to a sudden realization. The system's judgment would never be wrong. What Jing Xian said would not be false. Then, there was only one answer. Tianji Elder instructed Kong Ling and his father to bring Jing Xian to the Qingyun starry sky. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. He already had an answer in his heart. Is this the lover you yearn for day and night, Wang Kai? Buzz. With a gloomy voice, a girl who looked to be only 5 or 6 years old appeared in front of Wang Kai and Jing Xian. She was wearing a red belly band and had a small braid. She looked delicate like a doll. If it wasn't for her extremely harsh voice, she would be quite lovable. Master Bobo, he is Wang Kai. Jing Xian nodded and said with a blush, Master Bobo? This little girl was the owner of Mount Bobo. Moreover, he was Jing Xuan's master. Wang Kai was stunned. No matter how he looked at it, this was just a kid who didn't know shit. You reminded Ben Xiao of a little boy who dressed like you. His cultivation was terrifying. He was a chaotic martial disciple. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled. In the 9 palaces coiled tortoise shell, in the unbreakable divine prison, the little boy holding the candied hawthorn was also wearing a doo-doo and looked very exquisite. Chaos martial disciple? You saw him? Where is it? He's still alive? Suddenly, the little girl was extremely excited. She jumped up and sat on Wang Kai's shoulder without any explanation. Her small jade-like hands pinched Wang Kai's ears as she asked nonstop, don't tell Ben Xiao that you know each other and are brother and sister? Wang Kai grinned and looked surprised. We're not brother and sister. He's my ancestor. During the Shenluo period, he disappeared mysteriously and I don't know where he went. Let's not talk about this for now. Tell me, where is he? Bobo asked anxiously. In the unbreakable divine prison. Forget it. Ben Xiao doesn't have time to chat with you. Go aside. Ben Xiao wants to talk to little Xian Xian alone. Wang Kai frowned and flipped his hand to push Bobo down on his shoulder. Bobo wanted to resist, but found that she couldn't. Her body was like a willow and was slapped down. You're so strong. Bobo's watery eyes widened, and her face was filled with disbelief. At first, she didn't think that Wang Kai could be that strong. After all, Jing Xian's cultivation was there. No matter how strong she was, how strong could she be? But now, it was too surprising. Hurry up and get lost. Ben Xiao doesn't have time to deal with a little kid like you. Why are you still called Bobo? Why don't you call yourself Blockhead? Go to the side and cool off. Wang Kai frowned and said impatiently, whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai flipped his hand and held Jing Xian in his arms. Just as he was about to get up and leave, he was stopped by a loud shout. Stop! Put Jing Xian down. Who are you? How dare you touch Jing Xian? Don't you want to survive in the ghost realm? It seems that you can't be affectionate with Jing Xian, at least not now. As a young man wearing a white robe walked over in the air, Bobo bit his finger and laughed gloatingly. Empty God, this is my husband. If you don't want to die, leave quickly. Jing Xian frowned and said coldly. These days in the ghost realm, she was extremely annoyed by this empty God. However, due to his identity as the son of her savior, she could only endure it. Now in front of Wang Kai, he still dared to be so rude. He was purely courting death. Jing Xian, don't joke around. My sister said that your husband is just a waste. He is still cultivating in the lower realm. Maybe he is already dead now? There's also good news to tell you. My father has agreed to our marriage. Empty God said with a smile. Shut up. I, Jing Xian, have never put you in my heart. If it weren't for the fact that your father and sister once saved my life, I would have already beheaded you under my palm due to your relentless pursuit and annoying actions. Jing Xian said indifferently. Her temperament was cold and extremely cold. It was exactly the same as the 8 Desolation Sovereign. You don't have to explain like this. How could you like a little tramp like him? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled indifferently. With Jing Xian's personality, she would not have explained anything in the past. If she explained now, it was probably because they had been separated for too long and she was afraid that Wang Kai would change his mind. In fact, whether it was Wang Kai or Jing Xian, they only loved each other deeply. Who are you calling a little tramp? Empty God frowned and said in a cold tone, Get lost. Let your father come over and talk to Ben Shao. F***ck, you little brat. If you talk nonsense again, I will let your blood splatter 3 feet and turn you into feces. Wang Kai frowned and waved his hand impatiently. Buzz. Bang. Ah. In an instant, under Wang Kai's roll, Empty God's body suddenly exploded. With a bloody light, he flew directly into the void in the distance. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. You didn't kill him, right? Even if he's annoying, his father, Senior Kong Kong, and his sister, Kong Ling, have saved my life. Before Jing Xian could finish speaking, Wang Kai waved his hand and said, Don't worry, he is just a piece of trash. Ben Shao won't bother to kill him. If he wants to kill someone, he will kill his father. Empty God, I will make him completely empty. You still can't change your arrogant personality. Jing Xian narrowed her beautiful eyes and pursed her red lips. A faint smile appeared on her face. It was as if only this kind of Wang Kai could make her more familiar. Chapter 904. Hee, what an interesting young man. However, it seems that your troubles are not limited to Deputy Tower Head Kong alone. Bobo blinked and smiled. Hearing this, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly. Naturally, he did not understand what she meant. He could not help but look at Jing Xian. Seeing that she was also in a difficult position, he became even more curious. Master is talking about Heartless Prime and Empty Spirit, as well as the son of the 5th Deputy Tower Head, Qing Yin. Jing Xian said softly. Heartless Prime, Empty Spirit. Wang Kai could not help but grin. It went without saying that he was the kind of person who would seek vengeance against Heartless and Spirit Kong. Besides, even Spirit Kong was not willing to let Heartless go, let alone Spirit Kong. As for Qing Yin, the son of the 5th Deputy Tower Head, Wang Kai did not know him. However, he could guess why he would become his trouble. My little Xian Xian is so charming. The son of the 1st Deputy Tower Head, Empty Spirit, is chasing after you relentlessly. Even the son of the 5th Deputy Tower Head, Qing Yin, is the same. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled playfully. Hearing this, Jing Xian's beautiful eyes blinked. She stretched out her jade-like hand and pulled Wang Kai's arm. She said softly, An outstanding man like you, I have not seen you for so long. You must have been flirting with many women, right? Hearing this, Wang Kai's heart skipped a beat. How was it just flirting with women? He had even slept with a widow. If Jing Xian knew about this, who knew what kind of trouble there would be? Thinking of this, Wang Kai's face turned serious. He shook his head and said seriously, Of course not. Ben Shao's love for you can be seen by the heavens and the earth. Moreover, a good man like Ben Shao who chose one woman for the rest of his life, how could he casually have an unclear relationship with other women? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. TSK, just by looking at you, I can tell that you're lying. Before Jing Xian could say anything, Bobo, who was at the side, had already curled her lips and said, How could she, who had seen countless people, not be able to tell that Wang Kai was lying? Little did he know, even without Bobo saying it, Jing Xian could guess that Wang Kai must be lying. With his personality, if he really wasn't a womanizer, why would he pretend to be so serious? The more he pretended, the more fake he was. However, Jing Xian did not pursue the matter, nor did she expose it. She gently nodded and said with a smile, I do not dare to have such thoughts of monopolizing you. I only hope that you will not treat the sisters who came from the same place unfairly. Coming from the same place, Miao Yin, Kong Ro, Lu Yao, Li Lingxian, perhaps she was referring to a few others. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sighed. Although he had reached the sovereign realm, he was not invincible in the Qing Yun starry sky. Even if he could easily find them, he could not guarantee their safety. Besides, the martial arts meet was about to begin, and it was still unknown whether it would be a blessing or a curse. Of course, as long as you're willing, I won't be stingy. Of course, if you're not willing, I won't look for them again, Wang Kai said with a faint smile. Congratulations, host, for successfully bragging. You've gained 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations, host, for successfully breaking through and reaching the 9th grade sovereign realm. Congratulations, host, for successfully breaking through and gaining 100 star source points. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior realm, 9th grade sovereign title, unparalleled bragging, shaking heaven and earth star technique, Karma Great Tao technique star technique, Tao Tremor punch, absolute isolation, extermination identification, torch dragon eyes vanishing shadow, level 2 equipment, Sky Piercer star power, level 10 star source points, 700 bragging points, 360000 experience, 0100000000. As the notifications disappeared, Wang Kai was shocked by the system page in his mind. His experience points actually jumped from 50 million to 100 million. Seems like it's going to enter the update period. As long as I brag 10 more times, I can reach the 10th grade sovereign realm. By then, the system will enter the update period. After the update, not only will the functions be more powerful, but the experience points will also be reset, right? Otherwise, what's the use of the update? Wang Kai frowned and thought to himself. From now on, he had to control his bragging. If he went overboard and caused the system to enter the update period, wouldn't he be asking for trouble? Could it be difficult to control the situation? Why do you look so pale? Did you run into some trouble? Even if my cultivation is not as good as yours, Bobo's master is in the sovereign realm and can definitely help you, Jing Xian said gently. Sovereign realm? Bobo? Wang Kai was stunned and couldn't help but touch his nose. He looked at the little girl and asked in surprise, Are you also one of the deputy building masters of the ghost building? Of course, did you just know? I'm the second deputy building master. Bobo smiled proudly. Second deputy building master, at least in upper grade sovereign realm, right? Although it wouldn't be 9th grade, it wouldn't be much different from 8th grade or 7th grade. Since you're the second deputy building master of the ghost building, you actually don't know who Ben Shao is? Wang Kai's lips curled up, and his smile was full of playfulness. He thought to himself that even the 7th deputy building master came out to talk to him outside the ghost world. How could this second deputy building master not know of his existence? Are you very famous? Other than hearing about you from Jing Xian, I haven't heard any rumors about you. Bobo tilted his head and said doubtfully. He really didn't know? Wang Kai frowned. The 7th deputy building master came to find him to ask him to enter the ghost world. In other words, he wanted to find trouble with him. Now, this second deputy building master Bobo didn't know that he was also a deputy building master. If that's the case, it should be someone else who instructed the 7th deputy building master. Ghost Lord? Or the one wearing the official robe? It shouldn't be. If they instructed him, why would the Ghost Lord personally come out to meet him? Isn't it superfluous? After pondering for a while, Wang Kai was too lazy to think about it. No matter who it was, as long as they came to find trouble, he would just beat them back. If they crossed the line, he would kill them because they deserved it. You have been separated for a long time. Now that you meet again, you must have a lot of things to say. Do you want to rest on Mount Bobo? The scenery is beautiful, and there are pavilions that reach into the clouds. It's very comfortable inside. However, you're not allowed to use force in the mountains. If you can't abide by the rules, you can play in the mountains. Bobo tilted his head and said in a joking tone, Play in mountains? Hearing this, not to mention Jing Xian, even Wang Kai was a little embarrassed. He didn't expect Bobo to be so direct. If she was a slender and elegant adult woman, it would be fine. However, she had lived for who knows how many years but still maintained the appearance of a little child. The provocation of his words was too great, and it was too much of a contradiction with his face. It was really hard for people to accept. Chapter 905. Then let's play in the mountains. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and pretended to be indifferent. If they could have a field battle one day when they met, that would be a great feeling indeed. Well, let's do it in the mountains. Suddenly, as Jing Xian nodded her head in agreement, Wang Kai was startled. His eyes widened, full of disbelief. He never thought that Jing Xian would actually agree. Shouldn't she be very angry and refuse? Could it be that Jing Xian misses Ben Xiao too much, causing her love to explode, and she really can't help but want to be affectionate with Ben Xiao? Well, it seems like that's the case. Otherwise, with her character, how could she agree to such a trifling matter? Wang Kai frowned, secretly pleased with himself. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. You actually believe that he will keep his promise? Bobo cried out in surprise. Regarding this, Jing Xian's pretty face was slightly red. Regarding Bobo's question, she felt ashamed for Wang Kai in her heart. Indeed, with Wang Kai's character, any promise was bullshit. It could be changed at any time, and it also depended on his preferences. As long as he was unwilling, verbal promises were absolutely bullshit. However, Jing Xian was also very clear that if she was involved, Wang Kai might really keep his promise. Don't worry, he definitely won't keep his promise. What's more, even if he keeps his promise, when those troublemakers come, I will stop them. You don't have to worry, Bobo said with his small hands behind his back, nodding his head with assurance. Hearing this, Wang Kai also came to a realization. After all this time, the reason why Jing Xian promised him was so that he could use his cultivation to protect himself at any time. If he entered Mount Bobo, because of the agreement, he couldn't use his cultivation. When those troublemakers came, did she think that he would be at a disadvantage? I say, aren't you underestimating Ben Xiao too much? Just relying on the dregs of the Ghost Realm. Do you think they can pose any threat to Ben Xiao? Even if the Ghost Lord were to come, Ben Xiao would be able to beat the crap out of him. Moreover, it would be an extremely easy matter. Wang Kai waved his hand and said rather helplessly, even if he didn't fight back and just stood there and let them attack him, they wouldn't be able to take his life. Even if they were lucky enough to take his life, he could rely on the system's regeneration function to instantly revive himself. If that was the case, what was there to be afraid of? I know that you are very powerful and have the ability to come back from the dead. Moreover, with your profound cultivation, there are very few practitioners who can pose a threat to your life. However, I don't want to see you humiliated, Jing Xian said with a frown. Even if they couldn't beat Wang Kai, with the usual style of those arrogant people, they would definitely humiliate Wang Kai. You're looking down on Ben Xiao even more. Who dares to humiliate me? When the time comes, I don't even need to use my cultivation. With just my mouth, I'll be able to humiliate them until they're black and blue and have no place to show their faces. Wang Kai waved his hand and said rather casually, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. All right, the two of you stop arguing. Go to the underworld town in the Ghost Realm to rest. With their abilities, they can't go there. Of course, the premise is that you haven't had any conflict with the guide. Bobo said rather impatiently. Originally, he wanted to trick Wang Kai into making a promise so that he would suffer some difficulties. However, who would have thought that Jing Xian wouldn't do it all? Underworld? Guide? What the hell? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and asked rather puzzledly. The so-called Yin side is one of the two sides of the Ghost Realm. The side that we're currently in is the Yang side, and those who live there are all living practitioners. On the Yin side, there are all the dead and can also be called dead practitioners. The guide is their leader and also the one who led you into the Ghost Pavilion. Bobo said indifferently. The one who wears an official's robe and has his head knocked off, the dead person who can put it back? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and said rather astonishingly, His head was knocked off? Hearing this, Bobo instantly froze on the spot. Jing Xian, who was at the side, also stared blankly. If that's the case, didn't Wang Kai provoke the guide? He was just saying that as long as he didn't provoke the guide, it would be fine. But now, I don't have any enmity with him. Speaking of which, he still has to be respectful to Ben Shao. After all, he could survive because of Ben Shao's benevolence and intention to let him go. Otherwise, he would have been completely dead long ago. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression, regarding this, the system didn't give any reward notification. Indeed, if Wang Kai wanted to take the life of the young man in official's robe, it would be a piece of cake. Even if the other party had already died once and became a dead practitioner, it was still a piece of cake to make him completely die. Want to leave? How can it be so easy? Buzz. Following a voice filled with chilliness, an old man in a gray robe could be seen in the distant void, striding over quickly. First Assistant Tower Master Kong Kong. When Mr. Popo saw this, he frowned and looked at Wang Kai with a slightly worried expression. Even if Wang Kai's cultivation was very strong, the Spirit Lord wouldn't agree to do anything to Kong Kong. Moreover, Bobo didn't think that Wang Kai was a match for the Spirit Lord. If he was really stronger than the Spirit Lord, why bother talking nonsense here? Wouldn't it be better to just break the ghost realm and leave this place? He is Kong Kong. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and stood with his hands behind his back. It is him. Don't take his life. The Spirit Lord won't agree. Even if the Spirit Lord can't stop you, you can't do that. He is my savior, Jing Xian said with a frown. Hearing this, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. He cursed Tianji Lauren 1,000 times in his heart. He even schemed against Jing Xian. He didn't do you any favors. You were saved by him and came to the Qingyun Starry Sky because old man Tianji manipulated everything behind the scenes. He Kong Kong is just a small character working for old man Tianji. Wang Kai said indifferently. Whoosh. Hearing this, Jing Xian's frown deepened. She naturally understood the meaning of Wang Kai's words. But she was surprised. Surprised. Who was Tianji Lauren? Why'd he plan this? Even Jing Xian didn't associate Tianji Lauren with Tianji Lauren and Ba Huang. Where's your son, Kong Shun? Why didn't you bring him along? Don't tell me he's dead? Wang Kai frowned and said with a playful smile. Whoosh. Kong Kong, who had just arrived at the foot of the mountain, heard this and his face darkened. He said coldly, your cultivation has reached the sovereign realm. Even if you hold back, my son won't be able to survive. But you don't have to be proud. I have sent him to the inside. There, he will be resurrected and have an immortal body. Immortal body? Stop bragging to Ben Shao. If he doesn't die, he will definitely die if he provokes Ben Shao again. Wang Kai curled his lips and sneered disdainfully. Chapter 906. Then let me see what kind of ability you have. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, Kong Kong waved his hand. As a sovereign realm expert, his aura could be described as the wind and clouds moving, causing the entire Mount Bobo to shake endlessly. Even Bobo, who was also a sovereign realm expert, turned pale at this moment. Under the shock of absolute power, he could only hurriedly take Jing Xian and escape to the distant void. What are you looking at? Do you have the chance and qualification to look at it? Buzz. Wang Kai's expression was normal as he didn't feel any pressure. He curled his lips and sneered. With a flip of his hand, he slapped Kong Kong across the void. Bang! Crack! Ah! With one blow, before Kong Kong could react, his face had already exploded. His entire face was instantly unrecognizable. His body tilted and smashed into the ground, causing the earth to crack open. It looked extremely exciting. With such little ability, you have the nerve to act tough in front of Ben Shao. You want to see Ben Shao's ability? You really don't have the chance and qualification. You don't even have the ability to make Ben Shao happy. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered with disdain. He's actually so strong. Even though Bobo already knew that Wang Kai would win, he was still shocked when he saw it with his own eyes. The Ghost Tower's first Vice Master, an upper-grade sovereign realm expert, couldn't even take one blow. Moreover, Kong Kong was the one who took the initiative to suppress him, but he was defeated in one blow. In the end, he was beaten so miserably. He has always been surprising since the first day I met him. Jing Xian blinked her beautiful eyes and smiled proudly. Although Bobo was annoyed, he didn't refute. Indeed, Wang Kai's strength was too terrifying and unbelievable. A young man in his 20s actually had a cultivation that surpassed the top experts in the sky domain starry sky. If it wasn't for Wang Kai's age that couldn't be faked, everyone would think that he was an old monster who had lived for tens or even hundreds of thousands of years. Cough, cough. A crack. In the deep pit, Kong Kong's clothes were torn and tattered, and he looked extremely miserable. He struggled to climb out of the pit, his face covered in blood and sand. It was truly a tragic sight. Look at you now. Where's your arrogance from before? Where's your confidence in acting tough? Where did they go? How did such an awesome person like you end up looking like a dead dog? Wang Kai sneered with his hands behind his back. Whoosh! Hearing those words, Kong Kong, who was already seriously injured, became even angrier. A large mouthful of blood spurted out from his cracked mouth that couldn't even be seen clearly. However, no matter how angry he was, no matter how much he wanted to say, Kong Kong was unable to say anything at this moment. He could only whimper incoherently. All right, Ben Xiao has never taken a piece of trash like you seriously. Furthermore, Ben Xiao will only give you two choices. First, if you want to live, kneel on the ground and kowtow to Ben Xiao 3 times. Second, die. Don't worry, no one can save you. Life and death are all in your hands. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled mockingly. He could have killed Kong Kong in an instant, but Wang Kai did not do so. Naturally, he wanted to beat him into the abyss of despair. Sometimes, killing people could not solve anything. Letting them live was 1,000 times more painful than killing them. Sure enough, Kong Kong's body involuntarily trembled when he heard these words. His body, which was covered in fresh blood, looked extremely miserable. In the end, Kong Kong, who could not speak clearly, could only kneel on the ground with great effort with grief and indignation. He kowtowed heavily on the ground with his exposed head. Bang! Bang bang! 3 consecutive kowtows without any delay. He knew very well that with Wang Kai's cultivation, even a ghost lord was no match for him. Now, if he wanted to live, this was the only way. For Jingshuan's sake, Ben Xiao will spare your life today. Get out of here, quickly. Don't let Ben Xiao see you again. Otherwise, no one can save you. Not even the ruler of the sky domain or the god of the starry sky. Wang Kai shrugged and waved his hand with a disgusted expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, Kong Kong did not hesitate. He stood up and used the last of his strength to quickly step into the air and leave. With such injuries, if he did not recover soon, he would definitely die. It had to be said that Kong Kong's decision was correct. You got guts. You actually let Kong Kong go. Aren't you afraid of his revenge one day? Bobo frowned and snorted disdainfully. If it were her, she would definitely take Kong Kong's life. Why would she give him a chance to live? After all, in the cultivation world, only the death of one's enemy was the guarantee of one's safety. Kong Kong is my savior. Jingxian frowned slightly. She had heard Wang Kai say that all of this was planned by Elder Tianji, but it was true that she had been saved by him. But now, he's your husband's enemy, Bobo said indifferently. He did not agree with Jingshuan's decision. In the cultivation world, what was the point of talking about kindness? Even if one talked about kindness, one had to look at the person, right? For someone like Kong Kong, what was love in his eyes? Don't worry. With his ability, even after 100,000 years, or even 1,000,000 years, he won't be a match for me, Wang Kai. If you want to pose a threat to this young master, it's still too early for him. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai reached out and hugged Jingxian. Wang Kai, it's better to kill him, in case he attacks the others who came with us. Jingxian frowned, her beautiful eyes filled with worry. It had to be said that ever since he followed Wang Kai, even the once famous blood-clothed Bodhi had become worried. There were simply too many things that were tied down. Don't worry, he doesn't have the guts. Even if he does, he doesn't have the ability. Moreover, He doesn't have the time. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled faintly. Once the matter of the martial art competition was over, he would definitely find all the people he knew to his side. With that Kong's ability, wanting to cause trouble under his nose was simply a fool's dream. He was courting death. Hearing this, although Jing Xian was still a little worried, she still gently nodded her head. She had an inexplicable trust in Wang Kai. Just as she had said, from the moment she met him, she felt that everything was inconceivable, but it was all incomparably real. After such a ruckus, I'm afraid that even the fifth deputy head won't dare to show his face, right? Bobo laughed mischievously. Even Kong had been beaten so miserably. How could the fifth deputy head, who was much weaker, dare to appear? Chapter 907. The next morning, in the pavilion at the top of the mountain, Wang Kai was dressed neatly and stood with his hands behind his back. Do you want to be the enemy of the entire Qingyun starry sky? Are you confident? Jing Xian was wearing a white dress. Coupled with her snow-white hair, peerless appearance, and otherworldly temperament, she gave people a sense of transcendence and superiority. Even if there was a hint of worry in her eyes, she still looked beautiful. Of course, Bin Xiao has never done anything that he is not confident of. If I were to use 4 words to express my current mood, it would be that I have the pearl of wisdom in my hands. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, Jing Xian shook her head slightly and could only sigh in her heart. She knew Wang Kai's character very well. He was always taking risks. However, Wang Kai had indeed returned safely from his adventures. Thinking of this, Jing Xian did not say anything more. I'll go with you. Jing Xian smiled faintly. Wang Kai grinned when he heard this. He thought to himself that he should have left secretly, but thinking about it, with Jing Xuan's personality, she would probably chase after him afterwards. At that time, in order to avoid any more mistakes, the gains would not make up for the losses. However, if he did not choose to leave secretly and face her directly, how could he persuade her? It had to be said that even Wang Kai was not sure about the final outcome of this martial arts conference. If Jing Xian went with him, she would definitely be implicated if something went wrong. After all, this was not the 8 Desolations, and Jing Xian was not a Zhizun. You'd better wait here. A man is doing something. Why do you want to follow a woman? Don't you know that men need to be trusted? What's more, this young master is such an insufferably arrogant and invincible man. You have to be even more obedient. Do you understand? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a rather indifferent expression, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. You're not sure, are you? Jing Xian frowned slightly in response to this. Even though she already had an answer in her heart, she still couldn't help but feel displeased when she saw Wang Kai act like this. If it was really as safe as Wang Kai said, why wouldn't he be willing to bring him along? Who said that Bin Xiao isn't confident? Not letting you go is a matter of principle. Bin Xiao going out to do things is a man's business. Wang Kai frowned and said impatiently. Facing the first woman, even Wang Kai was somewhat helpless. A woman following a man is also a woman's matter, Jing Xian said indifferently. Whoosh! Hearing this, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched fiercely. A woman and a man. This is indeed a matter of course. It's better than flying away separately in the face of disaster, right? But now, it's not the time to show how loving they are. You need to know that Bin Xiao is immortal. Even if there is danger, Bin Xiao will come back to life. But if I bring you along and you make a mistake, I really have no way to, well, I know. You go. I'll wait for you here. Before Wang Kai finished speaking, Jing Xian pursed her red lips and laughed softly. She was extremely happy that Wang Kai told the truth. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean that you're a burden. Ahem, that's not what I mean. It's okay, I know. Jing Xian stepped forward and hugged Wang Kai. She gently pressed her face against his back and smiled softly. You brat, quickly break this ghost realm and broaden my horizons. Suddenly, Mr. Bobo's voice was heard. His tone was full of excitement. Do I need to break it? Wang Kai shrugged and turned to the void and said faintly, Ghost Lord, quickly open the ghost realm and activate the ghost pavilion. Well, it's you. Take Ben Shao back to the domain capital city. Ha ha ha. Interesting, interesting. I like to see you buzz. Crack. Just as Mr. Bobo was covering his face and laughing, the void suddenly tore open. The scene that appeared was the ghost pavilion outside the ghost realm. It's really open? The ghost lord actually submitted to him? Seeing this scene, Mr. Bobo was stunned. At first, he thought that the ghost lord was not as strong as Wang Kaiqiang and would not give in so easily. But who would have thought that he would open the ghost realm without even letting out a fart? Wasn't this too cowardly? The dignified ghost lord, the number 1 ninth grade sovereign in the sky domain, was so obedient? I despise you. Mr. Bobo stuck out his tongue and turned to leave. He had no intention to stay any longer. His initial intention of watching the battle between Wang Kai and the Ghost Lord was instantly gone. The Ghost Lord was already so cowardly. What was the point of fighting? She's got guts. She even dared to despise her head, the dignified Ghost Lord. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled rather speechlessly. Mr. Bobo's master is the Ghost Lord's master. Oh no, it should be the previous master. The current Ghost Lord has no master. Jing Xian reminded softly. Hearing this, Wang Kai was stunned. He did not expect that the previous master of the Ghost Pavilion, the original artifact of the Ghost Lord, would be Mr. Bobo. Speaking of which, the origin was quite deep. Do you need my help? Following the Ghost Lord's voice, Wang Kai and Jing Xian looked at each other. They did not expect that he would take the initiative to ask for help. A 9th grade sovereign realm Ghost Lord with the strongest combat power among all the sovereigns. Although it was only in the 9th grade category, the deterrent power was indeed enough. Even if there were 10th grade sovereigns, in the end, there would only be 9 of them. These 9 10th grade sovereign realm experts were also the domain lords of the 9 great domains. If you're willing to help, Ben Shao will naturally be happy to bring you along. However, don't expect Ben Shao to repay you. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and smiled faintly. Naturally, there's no need for you to repay anything. I only hope that you won't come to the Ghost Pavilion in the future. The Ghost Lord said. Before Wang Kai could respond, Jing Xian, who was at the side, had already covered her face and laughed softly. She naturally understood that the Ghost Lord was afraid of Wang Kai. In fact, it was indeed so. He had just arrived at the Ghost Pavilion and killed the first Vice Master's son. After that, he even beat the first Vice Master to a miserable state. Fortunately, he did not take his life. Otherwise, the Ghost Pavilion would definitely suffer heavy losses. This broken place, even if I begged Ben Shao to come, he wouldn't have any connections. Speaking of which, how are my 2 followers now? Wang Kai shrugged and curled his lips in disdain. They're fine. They're probably having so much fun that they can't get out of bed. With hundreds of ghost cultivators accompanying them, their spiritual energy is also vigorous enough. The Ghost Lord said faintly. Hundreds of ghost cultivators accompanied by the female ghosts of the Ghost Pavilion? Wang Kai grinned and waved his hand speechlessly. Since that's the case, let them rest. You and Ben Shao head to the Domain Lord City. Chapter 908. Unbroken Region, Domain Main City. In the void, the ghost building formed by 7 coffins was suspended in the air with bursts of eerie chilliness, causing a large area of the Domain Main City to darken. Regarding this, many cultivators raised their heads to look up, each of them feeling extremely strange. Whenever the ghost building returned to the Domain Main City, it should return to its original location. But today, it was so strange that it appeared in the sky. What are you trying to do by showing off like this? The Ghost Lord's figure appeared, wearing a black robe, surrounded by black gas, and his tone was heavy. You don't know? Wang Kai asked in surprise. The Ghost Lord was silent for a moment, then said, I heard that you want to be the enemy of the entire sky region, so I decided to make a big fuss with you, but only for those below the Dominator realm, not those above. As the Ghost Lord, he already had a bad premonition. He felt that what Wong Kai was going to do this time involved more than just the Dominator realm experts. It had to be said that the Ghost Lord was too sensitive and very accurate. You know the experts above the Dominator realm? How many? Wong Kai narrowed his eyes and asked with a serious expression. 4. They're in the east, south, west, and north respectively. We call them the 4 great domain masters. They are above the starry sky god. The Ghost Lord said lightly. 4. There were only 4. In this case, there could be 2 chaotic realm experts. Wong Kai's pupils contracted slightly, and his heart was filled with joy. He had to say that the Ghost Lord's answer was undoubtedly a great help to him. A great help. If he was not confident before, now he was very confident. 4 great domain masters, above the starry sky god, chaotic martial disciple. Wong Kai could not help but laugh. His laughter was full of joy. In this regard, the Ghost Lord was silent, but in his heart, he was thinking, is Wong Kai a fool? If he knew that Wong Kai could command 2 warriors of chaos at any time, he would be scared out of his wits. Unfortunately, my purpose today is to entertain the 4 territory masters. Moreover, it's very likely that I'm going to take them all under my command. It's their honor to be Ben Sheo's subordinates. It's their great fortune. Wong Kai said arrogantly with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. I'm sorry. If that's the case, I can't help you. The Ghost Lord said bluntly without any hesitation. What kind of joke was this? Wasn't it courting death to become enemies with the 4 great domain venerables? Even Starry Sky God was beneath them. So what did a mere ruler count for? You have to think carefully. There aren't many opportunities to please Ben Shao like this. This is the only one. Wong Kai shrugged and laughed mockingly. I'm used to being a widow. I won't pester you, as long as you give me my freedom. The Black Widow was silent for a moment, and then smiled gently. She probably didn't even notice that there was a flash of disappointment in her eyes. But Wong Kai saw it clearly. But even so, he couldn't do anything about it. After all, they were just passers-by. If fate really brought them together, everything would happen naturally. In that case, come out with me. You've been locked up in the divine prison for so many years. Once you get out, you might have a breakthrough. Wong Kai said with a smile. Breakthrough? At most, I'll be at the peak of grade 9 chaotic martial disciple. It's not easy to become a chaotic martial master. Black Widow smiled carelessly. She didn't have any expectations. Chaotic martial disciple, peak of grade 9. Wong Kai nodded slightly. He wasn't sure what grade the chaotic warriors in the sky domain were. But only Shin Luo could become a chaotic martial master. Black Widow, who was at the peak of grade 9 chaotic martial disciple, should be enough. Chapter 909. Under Wong Kai's instructions, the news that Zui Feng Shinu and the others had quickly spread to every corner of the city. As a result, many cultivators gathered in one place with a doubtful attitude. Moreover, the number of people was still increasing. However, none of the cultivators who had surpassed the Star God realm appeared. However, the cultivators present were very clear that it was not that they did not come, but that they did not come out. At this moment, they were definitely hiding in the dark and watching. The Karma Great Tao, one of the 9 ultimate Taos, and it's complete. Is this true or false? Who cares if it's true or false? Since someone dares to spread it like this, we'll just watch the show. Even if it's true, it's not up to us to covet it. That's true. I'm afraid there'll be a good show to watch this time. The complete Karma Great Tao. I'm sure that the Karma Region Lord can't sit still, right? After all, he's only cultivating an incomplete version. Our unbreakable regions, Lord probably can't sit still. If a fragment of a 9 palace plate appears, his status will also rise if he can obtain it. That's right. The other 8 region lords each have a fragment of a 9 palace plate. Our region lord, Many cultivators were whispering to each other and discussing. They did not come here to try their luck and obtain something, but purely to watch the show. After all, everyone knew their own limits very well. Even Star God Realm experts wouldn't be able to gain any benefits. So what could other cultivators who were even weaker do? At most, they would just go through the motions and take a look. At the same time, in the void, a total of 8 cultivators with powerful auras frowned and kept looking in all directions. Streams of divine consciousness were released and roamed around continuously. However, they did not find any trace of the owner of the martial arts conference. Unbreakable Region Master, Karma Region Master, if the fragments of the 9 Palace Plate and the complete Karma way really appear, we will not show any mercy. A beautiful lady in a green dress, who had a rather sinister demeanor, spoke in an indifferent manner. That's right. Those who see it will have a share. Whoever can obtain it will depend on their own ability. One of them was bare-chested, revealing muscles that were as tough as iron walls. He grinned and spoke in a deep tone. Everyone else nodded their heads in agreement. Everyone, your actions are a bit excessive. Gao Xianlong, the leader of the Unbreakable Region, was wearing a golden robe. He had a square face and looked very dignified. Hearing those words, he frowned and looked quite cold. It is indeed a bit excessive. Not only do you all have complete ultimate paths, but you also each have a fragment of the 9 Palace Plate. Only Brother Gao and I are lacking. For the sake of the peace of the Qingyun starry sky, I think you should consider carefully and act cautiously. The Karma Region Master was a monk with a shiny head who wore a kasaya. His Buddhist name was Du Yi. Although he was a Buddhist cultivator, his words and actions were completely different from a Buddhist cultivator. He gave others the feeling that he was an ordinary cultivator wearing a Buddhist robe. Brother Gao and Master Du Yi are speaking too seriously. As the saying goes, everyone who sees a precious treasure gets a share. Whoever gets it will depend on their own strength. A middle-aged man with a mustache squinted his eyes and laughed cruelly. That's right. No matter if it is the ultimate path or the fragment of the 9 Palace Plate, there is no clear owner. Since that is the case, everyone is qualified to fight for it. Why should we give it to the 2 of you? An old woman with a walking stick said indifferently. Hearing that, Gao Xianlong, the leader of the Unbreakable Region, and Du Yi, the leader of the Karma Region, looked at each other and nodded slowly. When the others saw that, they smiled faintly. Naturally, they knew that the 2 of them were going to join forces. However, in front of the 6 domain masters, 2 domain masters did not mean anything. Therefore, no one cared too much about it. The 8 of you are too confident. Let's not talk about whether the ultimate path and the 9 Palace Plate really exists. Even if it does appear, who is qualified to get it? Let them be fools. Let them dream on. After all, they have been domain masters for so many years, they can't be useless, right? If the ultimate path and the fragment of the 9 Palace Plate appear, it means that the 9 ultimate paths and the 9 Palace Plate are all gathered. The 4 of us will have to exercise our muscles and bones. Once they are all gathered, the 4 of us will definitely have battle. The winner will be able to follow Shun Luo's trail and leave. Suddenly, as the 4 voices sounded, the expressions of the 8 domain lords changed greatly. Welcome, North, South, East, West, Domain Masters. The 8 domain masters knelt down on one knee in the void in panic and bowed from afar. There is no need to be so courteous. For so many years, the 8 of you have solved many problems for us. However, in return, you have also obtained the status of domain masters. Therefore, once the ultimate path and the 9 Palace Plate appear, you can look for the next domain master to break through to the chaotic martial disciple level and become the next domain master. It is a pity that among the 8 of you, only 6 of you are qualified to break through to the chaotic martial disciple level. Moreover, it is unknown how many chaotic martial disciples there will be among the 8 of you. It will depend on your individual aptitudes. As the 4 voices disappeared, the 8 domain masters felt a chill run down their backs. They had never thought that the final outcome would be so shocking. 4 domain masters had come forward to ask for it. Who could stop them? Who dared to stop them? They had just been discussing how to get the ultimate path and the fragment of the 9 palace plate. Now, the domain masters had come forward to ask for it. Everything looked so embarrassing and infuriating. It seems that our final achievement can only be the chaotic martial disciple level. Moreover, whether we can reach that level is still unknown. We still have to stay in the sky region. Damn the 4 old men. Domain master. Domain master. If there is even the slightest chance, we will not let you get away with it. The expressions of the 8 domain lords were the same as usual, but their hearts were filled with various thoughts. Have you all waited for a long time? Ben Shao is here. Kacha. Following a soft laugh, space was suddenly torn apart. Within it, Wang Kai, who was dressed in white, and the charming and enchanting Black Widow, who was dressed in a black dress, appeared. They are the organizers of the martial arts competition. Such a young cultivator? Tsk. That woman is very beautiful, and also very alluring. Sigh. What's the use of being beautiful? In the end, won't the domain masters benefit? Damn it, that's true. I am afraid that even this young man will be taken away by the only female domain master among the 8 domain masters. Hearing the sighs of many cultivators, Wang Kai, who was in the void, twitched the corner of his mouth. He was speechless. Black Widow did not care. At that moment, she was deeply attracted by the air outside, as well as the real sunlight. Chapter 9-10. Shut the F***CK up, Ben Shao. Even if he wants to play, it should be Ben Shao playing with the only female zone master. How can Ben Shao let her play with him? I'm not afraid to tell you that the female zone master has been played by Ben Shao day and night. She's already been played to a pulp. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Swoosh. Hearing this, many cultivators were stunned. They all looked at Wang Kai in a daze. They thought to themselves that he was indeed worthy of being the person who dared to call for a martial arts conference. He could even say such words. Was he not afraid of angering the female zone master? This D***MN brat. In the void, the zone master, who was wearing a green dress, frowned and pursed her red lips. Her eyes were filled with coldness as she snorted. In response, the surrounding zone masters looked at each other and smiled. Since they knew that they could not get anything, no one cared whether the ultimate path and 9 palace plate fragments would appear or not. On the contrary, the 8 zone masters, who were supposed to be fighting for them, had become spectators. Why do I feel that the woman behind that brat looks familiar? I also feel that she looks familiar. I think I've seen her somewhere before. It should be a portrait. She's a magical woman from the same period as Shun Luo. She's called the Black Widow. Her cultivation is at the chaotic martial disciple level. Moreover, she's very strong. Impossible. She disappeared without a trace long ago. Even if she exists, she can't still be alive. Similarly, in another part of the void, for voices were conversing with each other. Even though they were domain masters, they did not reveal themselves. It could be said that from the beginning to the end, they were communicating and observing with their divine thoughts. Once the karma path and 9 palace plate fragments appeared, there would be a huge battle. Because of this, no one was willing to be the first to reveal themselves. What level have you reached? Why do you look like you haven't changed? Wang Kai frowned and asked in a low voice. If nothing goes wrong, you have already reached the peak of the 9th grade of chaotic martial disciple. You brought me out without threatening me in any way. Aren't you afraid? That's enough. As the saying goes, a day as husband and wife means endless devotion for the rest of your life. You won't. Without waiting for the Black Widow to finish speaking, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled indifferently. In response, the Black Widow's eyebrows relaxed, and she nodded with a smile as beautiful as a flower. It was hard to tell whether it was Wang Kai's trust that made her happy or the joy of regaining her freedom. In short, the current Black Widow was very happy. Practitioners who want to participate this time quickly come up and sign up. There are only 300 places. There are no restrictions on cultivation. Bin Shao only gave 100 breaths. Once 100 breaths have passed, even if you're a chaotic martial disciple, you will have to stand aside and watch. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points." Hearing the prompt, Wang Kai frowned. He thought to himself that he already had the Black Widow by his side. A ninth-grade chaotic martial disciple expert could not solve all the problems? Or was it that the system's judgment was based on one's own strength? Chaotic martial disciple? What's that? I have never heard of such a title. Is he crazy? I think so. Otherwise, why would he talk about holding a martial arts competition and even use the ultimate path and a 9-palace plate fragment as a lure? Many cultivators were confused. Naturally, they did not know anything about chaotic martial disciples. However, the 8 territorial masters, who knew what the chaotic martial disciple represented, were all looking uncertain. They stared at Wang Kai, and various thoughts flashed through their minds. This guy is quite arrogant. Is it really just arrogant? The 8 territorial masters frowned. They were all surprised and doubtful. After all, Wang Kai's words were too intimidating. Even the chaotic martial disciple was of no use. He could call out the words chaotic martial disciple and was not afraid. Could it be that he was in the same realm? Or even stronger? Compared to the commotion among the 8 territorial lords, the 4 territorial venerables were very quiet. No one expressed anything. Their auras also gradually disappeared. "I'm in." "Me too." "Ha, me too." "Let's go together." At the same time, in the crowd, where no one expressed their intention, for men and women raised their hands. They were like students in a private school, fighting to be the first. Where did these 4 idiots come from? Look at their auras. They're only star venerables. Are they here to die? Motherf ** Kerr. If they can participate, I can too. I will be the champion. Champion? F * CKU. Even the star god realm did not say anything. How can you say you will be the champion? In an instant, when the 4 of them raised their hands to express their stance, many cultivators burst into laughter. Many of them even expressed that they would participate in the battle just for the sake of joking around. The 4 of them are very strong. They are grade 8 chaotic martial disciple and are about to step in a grade 9 chaotic martial disciple. They should be the chaotic martial disciples in the sky domain now. For it's not a lot. Black Widow said faintly through voice transmission. Her tone was full of disdain and contempt. The current Xinyan starry sky was indeed too weak. In the Shenluo era, there were 5 chaotic martial disciples, and Shenluo was a chaotic martial master. Moreover, there were many experts who could reach the chaotic martial disciple level. It was possible that there were more than 100 of them. However, due to the limitation of the number of people, they could not reach that level. Now, there were only 4 chaotic martial disciples. Moreover, when Black Widow released her divine consciousness, she clearly found that there was not a single expert who could reach the chaotic martial disciple level in the current sky domain. It was no wonder that there were only 4 chaotic martial disciples in the sky domain, which could accommodate 6 chaotic martial disciples. Are you sure there are no other chaotic martial disciples in the sky domain? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked curiously through voice transmission. No, there is one. He hid so well. Oh no, he found me. Wah. Suddenly, before Black Widow could finish speaking, her face turned pale. Her delicate body swayed, and she was on the verge of collapsing. A mouthful of blood spurted down from the sky. What happened? Seeing this scene, Wang Kai frowned and hurriedly stretched out his hand and hugged her in his embrace. That hidden chaotic martial artist is very strong. Although he is not as strong as Shenluo back then, he is not far off. He has already reached the chaotic martial master realm. The Black Widow frowned and transmitted her voice in shock. Chaotic martial master. There was actually a chaotic martial master in the sky domain. Wang Kai's expression froze when he heard this. He had never expected such a shocking thing to happen. Tomorrow, I will reach the 1,000 chapter mark. Thank you all for your support and love. Chapter 911. Who else could it be? Don't tell me it's him? Wang Kai frowned and suddenly had an ominous hunch. Who is it? Black Widow asked in shock. Old man Tianji. He has a feud with Ben Xiao, and he's jealous of Ben Xiao's talent. However, he can't kill Ben Xiao, so he secretly got involved in some shady business. He's really detestable. Wang Kai squinted and smiled coldly. Congratulations, host, for successfully bragging. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior Realm, 9th grade Dominator title, unparalleled bragging, shaking heaven and earth star technique, Karma Great Tao technique star technique, Tao Tremor Punch, absolute isolation, extinction identification, torch dragon eyes vanishing shadow, level 2 equipment, Sky Halberd star power, level 10 star source points, 700 bragging points, 500,000 experience, 900,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's back broke out in a cold sweat. He hurriedly activated his mind and glanced at the system page. Damn it. If I continue bragging, the system will enter the update period. Control, I have to control it. What's wrong with you? Why do you look so terrified at the mention of old man Tianji's name? Is he very terrifying? Seeing this, Black Widow knitted her brows. Her beautiful eyes were filled with astonishment. She thought to herself that someone who could make such a frivolous person like Wang Kai afraid must be very special. Although she had just met Wang Kai not long ago, she was a chaotic martial disciple who used to be famous during the Shenluo period. How could she not be accurate in judging people? Bullsh asterisk T. Why would Ben Xiao be afraid? Ahem, I'll just take it that Ben Xiao is afraid of him. Wang Kai immediately took back his words. After all, if he said that, he would definitely break through the realm. Even if he felt aggrieved, there was nothing he could do. Once he broke through to the 10th grade sovereign realm, the system would enter an update period. At that time, he wouldn't know if that chaos martial master was a friend or foe. If he died and couldn't be revived, wouldn't he be doomed? Since you said that you have the ultimate path and the 9 palaces plate fragments as rewards, why don't you take them out? Yeah, you should show it to us first. Otherwise, who knows if it's real or fake? At the same time, many cultivators started to make a ruckus. Their purpose was naturally to distinguish between the truth and the lies. Moreover, the quota of 300 cultivators had already been filled. Other than the 4 strongest domain venerables, the other cultivators' realms were not high. There were only a few star god realm cultivators participating. Even more powerful cultivators were watching from afar. They knew very well that even if they participated, they would only be looking for trouble. Oh, of course, of course. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at the person who spoke first. It was one of the 4 people mentioned by Black Widow. He was one of the 4 territory masters and a level 7 chaotic martial disciple. Wang. Then, as everyone held their breaths and watched, Wang Kai waved his hand and a tortoise shell appeared. At the same time, the complete way of karma was condensed into a star technique by Wang Kai's divine thought. The aura that flowed in it was extremely mysterious. It's actually real. Ha ha ha. In an instant, the 4 territory venerables who were disguised as cultivators looked at each other and laughed out loud. The other cultivators heard it, and their breathing quickened. There were even some whose eyes had turned completely red. Just now, you said that there can only be 300 participants. Is that true? That's right. If cultivators who are stronger than us want to participate, what should we do? If one of us wins and gets the treasure, will he be safe? If the territory master shows up, what will you do? In an instant, the questions of many cultivators flooded in like a tidal wave. The questions they asked were also what the cultivators who did not participate wanted to know. At the same time, the 8 territory masters who were hidden in the void breathed heavily. Since Wang Kai dared to take out such a treasure as a reward and called out the name of a chaotic martial disciple, he was even more fearless. No one could be sure if he really had the ability to deal with a chaotic martial disciple. But what if he did? After getting the ultimate path and the 9 palace plate fragment, he could be protected. Go to hell. You still want Bin Xiao to protect you? According to you, Bin Xiao will find a few more wives for you, buy a few acres of land, and live a good life? Wang Kai frowned and snorted in disdain. He was extremely disdainful of the cultivators' greed. On the one hand, they wanted to get benefits, and on the other hand, they wanted to be safe. How could there be a perfect solution in this world? Everyone's expressions were extremely awkward when they heard this. Some of them even blushed, and their expressions were extremely ashamed. As for the rules, the 300 people who are participating now will be the final 300 people. No matter who comes, they will not be able to participate in the battle. Even the territory master can't. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently, "Swoosh." The moment he said that, the expressions of the cultivators changed again. The 300 cultivators who were participating in the battle with a joking attitude were now flushed with excitement. Their breathing was rapid, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. As for the cultivators who did not participate in the battle, their faces were ashen, as if they had lost the most important thing. It was as if the ultimate path and the 9 palace plate fragment should have been theirs. There's no need to fight. Get out of here. The final owner of the ultimate path and the 9 palace plate fragment will be born from the 4 of us. That's right, leave. Those 8 idiots. Get out here quickly and tell them to get lost. Hurry up, it's annoying to look at them. The 4 cultivators who were the first to participate in the battle waved their hands impatiently. Immediately, the cultivators who had already participated in the battle were extremely annoyed. However, as soon as the voice fell, 8 people with powerful auras appeared from the void. The scene was silent. Yes, 4 territory masters. Under the crowd's incredulous gazes, the 8 region lords simultaneously bowed towards the 4 people from afar. The degree of respect they showed shocked everyone. Territory masters, experts that even the territory masters had to bow to. Gosh, in an instant, the cultivators who were originally extremely happy to participate in the battle suddenly turned ashen. They really felt like they had to suffer in silence. On the contrary, the cultivators who did not participate in the battle instantly walked out of their sadness and changed into a happy and cold smile. It had to be said that life was full of ups and downs. Happiness and sorrow were unpredictable. All of you leave. The 4 territory masters are here. We're not qualified to compete with them. Where did you get the courage to do so? The unbreakable territory master, Gao Xianlong, said lightly. Hearing this, the cultivators did not have any intention to refute. They all cupped their fists and bowed before silently leaving. And you, I advise you to hand over the ultimate path and the 9 palace plate fragment to the 4 territory masters. Gao Xianlong turned to look at Wang Kai and said indifferently. Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He squinted his eyes and looked up at Gao Xianlong. He sneered disdainfully. What are you doing? Do you have the right to speak here? If you don't want to die, leave now. Chapter 9:12. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, the entire place fell into silence. Even Gao Xianlong was stunned. It took him quite a while to recover from the shock. He had never thought that he would be reprimanded. Moreover, it was in his own territory in front of everyone. 4 domain masters were present. How could he not lose his face? You, please stop your rude words and shut your anus. Just as Gao Xianlong regained his senses and was about to reprimand him, Wang Kai waved his hand and interrupted him. Kill him. Bin Xiao is an eyesore. Oh, by the way, Bin Xiao will take your most beautiful wife in the unbreakable territory. You can rest in peace. Wang Kai waved his hand and said, You buzz. Bang. Crack. Suddenly, before Gao Xianlong could say anything, his body was smashed into pieces by the Black Widow. His body turned into a rain of blood that fell from the sky. Killed in one move. There was no way for him to resist. The crowd could not understand what had happened. Just like that, he died so easily and inexplicably. The territorial master of the unbreakable territory, Gao Xianlong, did not even have the chance to vent his anger before he died. Moreover, before he died, he learned that his wife was going to be taken away by someone else. The more the crowd thought about it, the more their scalps went numb. At the same time, they silently mourned for Gao Xianlong. It was hard to accept such an aggrieved death. Are the others dead? Black Widow curled her slender fingers and stuck out her tongue to lick her red lips. She asked with a charming smile. She was so beautiful, but she was so ruthless. Moreover, she looked as if she had not had enough. Many cultivators trembled and felt a chill in their hearts. No need. They should know their limits. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said casually, "Oh, what about the four of them?" Black Widow blinked her beautiful eyes and turned to look at the four domain masters. Swoosh! Meeting Black Widow's gaze, the four domain masters' faces darkened. Waves of fear brewed from the bottom of their hearts. Earlier, even they were unable to see through Black Widow's sudden attack. If they were the ones who had attacked just now, the outcome would not be any different. This proved that this woman was extremely powerful. He must be a chaotic martial disciple. Moreover, he must be above grade 7. Looks like she must be the Black Widow from the Shunluo period. There's absolutely no mistake. She's not dead. Now, he has suddenly appeared and is following behind a young man. You became the subordinate of a brat? Who exactly is this kid? Could he be the reincarnation of Shunluo? The four domain masters secretly communicated with each other. Their hearts were pounding as if they were going to jump out of their chests. The Black Widow's strength was truly too terrifying. If she wanted to take their lives, it would only take a single thought. The four of them. Let them fight each other first. Whoever wins will live. If anyone dies, then so be it. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently. Whoosh! Hearing this, the four domain masters could only smile even though they were annoyed. The four domain masters all hoped for a fight to begin. After all, with an elite like Black Widow around, they would not be able to get anything. It was not worth it to fight for nothing, and there would be casualties. However, they were forced to this point. What else could they do? We can only fight. Besides, God's will. That's good too. Let's fight. Buzz. Rumble. Suddenly, the four domain masters shook their heads and sighed. They stepped into the void together. In the blink of an eye, waves of earth-shattering buzzing resounded. Clearly, streaks of green power appeared in the void. It was extremely terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the blue star source power. Is this the chaotic power? Why is it green? It's so ugly. Wang Kai's mouth twitched as he said with disdain. Hearing this, Black Widow could not help but cover her face and laugh. She secretly thought that Wang Kai actually regarded the color of the power as important. It was really interesting. The chaotic power existed before the universe was formed. At that time, it was chaos and there were no living creatures. Later, the chaotic ancestor, who was known as the great god Pangu, appeared and split heaven and earth into two. The chaotic power gradually disappeared and finally gathered in a sealed space. It turned green and is extremely rare. It represents the purity of the chaotic era. Black Widow explained patiently. The chaotic ancestor, the great god Pangu, sealed space? Pure? Wang Kai grinned. He did not expect there to be so many sayings about the chaotic power. Where's the sealed space? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked curiously. This? I don't know. However, Shunluo, who successfully reached there, should know. However, we can't find out from him. Black Widow shook her head and said. Shunluo had reached that place and could not even see it. How could he know? Wang Kai curled his lips and looked up at the battle between the four domain masters. With his hands behind his back, he asked, Then how do you know about this? Of course, when Shunluo was still around, he said that he always wanted to reach the sealed chaotic world. Black Widow smiled and said, Shunluo said, How did he know about it? Wang Kai touched his nose, and the words Tianji Elder suddenly appeared in his mind. It was strange. Whenever something unbelievable happened, he would think of Tianji Elder. So much so that Wang Kai wondered if he was traumatized. Damn it, don't let Ben Xiao catch you. Wang Kai no longer dared to brag, so he could only choose not to mention their names. Otherwise, if he accidentally broke through to the 10th grade sovereign realm, everything would be difficult to deal with. Moreover, he was thinking about how to deal with the chaotic martial master. It was impossible for Black Widow to come out. She was only a 9th grade chaotic martial disciple. However, thinking about Black Widow's ranking among the 5, the strongest one should have a chance to reach the chaotic martial master level. Thinking about this, Wang Kai frowned and held the tortoise shell in his hand. He said faintly, "Kill one of them. Ben Xiao wants to enter the unbreakable prison and bring out the strongest chaotic martial master." Yes, the shy one you mentioned. You want him to come out? Hearing this, Black Widow's beautiful eyes narrowed. After thinking for a while, she reminded him in a rather serious manner, "Wang Kai, the reason why he is so afraid of meeting people is because he must kill everyone he meets. Of course, unless you have the ability to not be killed by him. Otherwise, it's better not to meet him." Wang Kai was slightly stunned. He did not expect the strongest chaotic martial master to have such a weird personality. Chapter 9:13. If that was the case, the strongest chaotic martial artist in the unbreakable divine prison did not want to meet him because he did not have the ability to kill him. Furthermore, he might be killed by him. Was that why he did not come out? Wang Kai rubbed his nose. He believed that his guess was correct. No matter what, he has to come out. If you can reach grade 9 chaotic martial disciple, he should be able to reach chaotic martial master. He just needs to exert some control. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said plainly, "Buzz." As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai's figure melted into the void and floated into the tortoise shell. The Black Widow did not even have the time to stop him. What kind of method does he have that he wants to control a chaotic martial artist who is stronger than me? Black Widow frowned and was very curious. At the same time, Wang Kai, who had arrived at the unbreakable divine prison, was stopped by 3 chaotic martial artists outside the city gate. "You're finally here." Black Widow disappeared mysteriously. "We thought that you must have brought her out, right?" The old man with the tobacco pipe said as he tapped the ash from his cigarette. "We thought that you wouldn't come back. Luckily, we didn't wait in vain." The little boy in the doo-doo said as he licked the candied fruit in his hand. "You should have chosen me. I'm the second strongest among the 5. If we really fought, the first might not be a match for me." The headless horseman on the headless warhorse said with displeasure, "You're the second strongest? Come on, I'm the second best, okay?" Whoosh! The boy who was holding the candied haws spat on the ground unhappily and threw the candied haws at the headless horseman. "Back in the Shenluo era, you were indeed the second strongest. But now, you might not be stronger than me." The headless horseman said as he waved his hand to send the candied fruit flying. "Ah, what a joke. In the unbreakable divine prison, we can't cultivate. We can only rely on the accumulation of our bodies. Back then, I was much stronger than you. Now, I'm weaker than you? Do you think that my accumulation speed is not as fast as yours?" The boy sneered disdainfully. "I was born in the void. Just based on the instinctive accumulation of my body, even Shinro is no match for me." The headless knight said in a low voice. He was born from nothingness. Hearing those words, even the boy grew silent. Just by looking at the headless horseman's headless body, which was still alive, and the wisps of black smoke coming out his neck, and even his warhorse, it could be said that the headless horseman had no life, let alone flesh and blood. If she said that he was a dead cultivator, he did not have the aura of death. If she said that he was a living person, it was no different from being dead. Coming from nothingness was indeed a reasonable explanation. It doesn't matter who is strong or weak. Since this young master has come back to the unbreakable divine prison, he must have his own plans. Let's listen to him. We don't have the right to decide. The old man put away his pipe and looked at Wang Kai. In response, the boy and the headless horseman also looked at him. Actually, Bin Shao can bring all three of you out. There are only 4 chaotic martial disciples in the Qingyin starry sky now. Of course, there is also a chaotic martial master. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at them playfully. Whoosh! Hearing those words, the headless horseman and the others were shocked. It was not a big deal to have a chaotic martial disciple, but a chaotic martial master. Could there be another Shinro in the Qingyin starry sky now? If we kill all 4 chaotic martial disciples, not only will the 3 of you be able to go out, but even that shy guy who is unwilling to meet others will also be able to go out. But the premise is, which one of you is confident that once you go out, you will be able to reach the chaotic martial master level? Wang Kai asked with his hands behind his back. Who would be able to reach the chaotic martial master level after going out? The headless horseman and the others were not confident about this question. Even if they had accumulated enough, no one knew if they could reach the chaotic martial master level. After the Black Widow went out, what level did she reach? The old man with the tobacco pipe suddenly asked. The headless horseman and the boy also looked at Wang Kai curiously. 9th grade chaotic martial disciple, Wang Kai said flatly. I can reach the martial master level. Me too. I am about the same. The headless horseman took the lead to speak confidently. Then the boy in the doo-doo and the prison guard with the tobacco pipe spoke one after another. Their voices were full of confidence. The Black Widow was originally a 1st grade chaotic martial disciple, the weakest among you. After she went out, she reached 9th grade chaotic martial disciple. But even so, are you sure you can cross the threshold of the chaotic martial master level? Wang Kai frowned and asked in surprise. After all, a chaotic martial disciple was only a martial disciple. It was not in the same category as a martial master. Yes, back then, the 4 of us joined forces to fight Shinro. Although we lost in the end, we knew that Shinro had the combat power of a chaotic martial master. With the accumulation of an era, he could reach that level. The headless horseman said, fight with Shinro, that was also called a fight. It was obvious that they were easily sent to the unbreakable divine prison. Wang Kai grinned. He was too lazy to expose them. Since they were so confident, he might as well bring them all out. Presumably, the Black Widow had already successfully killed a domain master. To her, killing a domain master was just a matter of a breath. Vanishing shadow. Buzz. Suddenly, Wang Kai's body flickered. In less than a breath, he had already grasped the shadows of the headless horseman and the others. The headless horseman and the others did not see it clearly. Now that they saw it, they were shocked and puzzled. They could not understand how Wang Kai had grasped their shadows. I will leave your shadows to Bin Shao for safekeeping temporarily. It is night now, so we'll be cut off. Patter. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai waved his hand, and the 3 shadows disappeared under the feet of the headless horseman and the others. Under the illumination of the lights on the city wall, their shadows disappeared. All right, this will not cause any harm to you. However, there is one thing that Bin Shao needs to tell you. From today onwards, you cannot appear under the sun. Otherwise, you will die. You're not allowed to disobey any of Bin Shao's orders. Otherwise, Bin Shao will crush your shadows at any time and exterminate you on the spot. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai kept the 3 shadows in the system. They could not survive under the sun. Once the shadows were crushed, they would be exterminated instantly. Such words shocked the headless horseman and the others so much that they could not make a sound for a long time. They swore that they had never seen such a strange method in their lives. Chapter 9:14. When will our shadows be released? The headless horseman asked in a low voice. The old man with the tobacco pipe and the boy in the doo-doo stared at Wang Kai. Their shadows had been taken away, and they could not live under the sun. Naturally, they were in great pain, but they could not do anything about it. Before they were caught by Shen Luo in the unbreakable divine prison, they had been dreaming of immortality. But now, even if they could achieve immortality, they were very depressed. It had to be said that whether it was an ordinary person or a cultivator, what they did not get was often good. Once they got it, they would feel that it was insignificant after a long time. When the time comes to release you, Ben Shao will release you. Don't ask any more questions about this. Just listen to Ben Shao's arrangements. Otherwise, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and glanced at them with a mocking expression. Hearing this, the headless horseman and the others looked at each other. They could only choose to nod and agree silently. Now that things had come to this, it was useless to say anything. The only thing they could do was to hope that Wang Kai would keep his promise and give them true freedom. Otherwise, even if they left the unbreakable divine prison, they would still live in the new cage that Wang Kai added. They would still not be free. We're still missing the strongest one. Where's that shy guy now? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked curiously. He could not understand why a chaotic-level ancient martial art practitioner would be afraid of strangers and not dare to meet others. Then, where would such a person hide? Underground, right under your feet. We will wait on the surface, but he will always be underground, the old man with the tobacco pipe said as he tapped the ashes. He heard what we said. I believe he will agree, the headless horseman said. But it will be difficult to get him to come out, the boy in the duda chuckled. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. He could not help but be surprised that he could not detect any aura under his feet. One must know that in the unbreakable divine prison, apart from himself, no one else was allowed to use their cultivation. Since that was the case, how could he hide his aura to the extent that he could not detect it? How powerful was his ability? Or rather, it was simply impossible to do so. If he couldn't use his cultivation, he would be weaker than a mortal's martial disciple realm. On the other hand, he was a 9th-grade sovereign realm expert. There was a difference of several hundred minor realms between them, yet he was able to deceive him. You can use your cultivation? Wang Kai frowned and asked indifferently. The headless horseman and the other two did not speak. They knew very well that Wang Kai was asking the most bashful one. Now that they were under Wang Kai, even if they knew, they didn't dare to answer without being asked. Moreover, people who had reached their level of cultivation and had trained for such a long time would not do something like asking for credit. I can't. This is an ability that I was born with. It has nothing to do with my cultivation. As an ear-piercing sound rang out from underground, Wang Kai's eyebrows immediately twitched and the corners of his mouth twitched violently. That voice was extremely soft and ear-piercing. It was as if a needle was rubbing against a patch. It was extremely sharp, ability of a physique. If that's the case, he should be the same as the Longhu brothers' undying physique. He was born with it and has nothing to do with his cultivation. Wang Kai frowned and thought to himself, "Come out and hand over your shadow. Ben Shao will bring you out of the unbreakable divine prison." Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back, "No, I can't go out. I'm afraid that I will attack you. When that happens, I will be killed by you." As that ear-piercing sound rang out again, Wang Kai couldn't help but rub his nose and smile. It seemed like his previous guess was right. This guy didn't come out because he was afraid of being killed by him. After all, he couldn't use his cultivation in the unbreakable divine prison. You just need to cover your face, and your eyes too. Wouldn't that be enough? Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. "No, I can't. I feel that my body will instinctively attack any living being when I smell it." Is it that serious? Even Wang Kai was speechless after hearing this. Even if his eyes were covered, he could still smell with his nose. Even if his nose was sealed, he could still sense with his senses. Currently, he couldn't use his cultivation, so he couldn't completely seal off his senses. It was quite troublesome. Wang Kai frowned and felt that it was extremely troublesome. He immediately waved his hand and said impatiently, "Come out. Even if you attack Ben Shao won't do anything to you. Besides, you're no threat to Ben Shao now." But I can't use my cultivation when I'm underground, so I can't smell you. I'm afraid that I'll hurt you if I go out. F***KU. Get out here." Buzz. Bang. Suddenly, Wang Kai furrowed his brows, turned his hand into a fist, and punched the ground. Under a series of violent sounds, The ground was suddenly smashed into a deep pit. Inside, a burly man was sitting cross-legged in a daze. His upper body was bare, and his head was raised up. You're not ugly at all. Why don't you dare to show yourself? He stared at the burly man below. Even though he was tall and strong, his face was extraordinarily handsome. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was the most handsome man Wang Kai had ever seen. Of course, that was only limited to his face. Roar, roar. However, as soon as Wang Kai finished speaking, the burly man let out a beast-like roar. He bared his fangs and brandished his claws as he emerged from the ground. He waved his fist, which was the size of a human head, and viciously smashed it at Wang Kai's head. Do you think a bear like you can hurt me? Whoosh. Before Wang Kai could finish his words, he saw the burly man's arm suddenly elongate. He didn't even have time to finish his words before he hurriedly dodged to the side. So awesome? It can even elongate? Wang Kai raised his arm and pinched the hair on his temple between his fingers. It was cut off by the wind from the burly man's fist when he was dodging his attack. Under the circumstances where he didn't have any cultivation, he was still able to cut off a strand of his hair with his fist. If he had any cultivation, in such an unexpected situation, Wang Kai didn't dare to imagine. Roar, roar. Vanishing shadow. Buzz. Just as the burly man roared and attacked again, Wang Kai hurriedly waved his hand and grabbed a shadow. Freeze! Bang! Plop! The burly man, who was frozen, fell directly to the ground. You should know that you heard what Bin Xiao said just now. So, shadow, Bin Xiao will accept it, Wang Kai said calmly. He then kept the shadow in the system. Now, the 4 chaotic level warriors were all in control. They only needed to kill all the domain masters in the outside world. Yesterday, the cable at home was disconnected. They said it would be fixed on Monday. I came to the internet cafe to write my story and didn't update it yesterday. I hope everyone can forgive me. I'm really sorry. Chapter 9:15. Even so, we can't let him appear in the sky domain. Otherwise, the headless horseman said in a serious tone, you're still the same as before. You like to meddle in other people's business and preach about being righteous all the time. But in the end, weren't you still sent here by Shinro for killing the innocent? The old man with the tobacco pipe snorted disdainfully. In Shinro's eyes, it doesn't matter if you kill good people or bad people. As long as there are enough of them, it's evil. The boy in the undergarment smiled faintly. The headless horseman snorted and said indifferently, Shinro sent me to the unbreakable divine prison so that he could attain Tao alone. It's not entirely because my murderous aura is too strong. That's just what you think. That's right. If you don't change your righteous slogan, even if you obtain freedom this time, a second Shinro will appear and lock you up in a place like the unbreakable divine prison. However, under the ridicule of the old man with the tobacco pipe and the boy in the undergarment, the headless horseman didn't change his original intention. He snorted and ignored them. Are you guys bragging to bench out together over there? Hearing their words, Wang Kai's face couldn't help but darken. Just when he didn't dare to brag anymore, he heard others bragging. This was really unpleasant. He even had the urge to brag to his heart's content. F*CK, the 3 of you just wait. I'll chop you up sooner or later. The burly man, who was pinned to the ground and sprawled on his stomach, used his sharp and ear-piercing voice to scream loudly. You're too arrogant. 1 against 1. The 3 of us might not be a match for you. But against the 3 of us at the same time, you'll die miserably. The boy in the undergarment sneered disdainfully. People with strength never speak tough words. The old man knocked on his tobacco pipe and said indifferently, Master, it's better not to let him out. Otherwise, he'll become a big problem. The headless horseman said in a low voice, You guys are really courting death. Courting death. The tall and sturdy man's voice was sharp and ear-piercing. The degree of his anger was at its peak. All right, let's cut the crap. Of course, Bin Xiao has his reasons for bringing him out. Besides, with Bin Xiao around, he doesn't have the ability to go crazy on his own. Everyone just wait here. Headless Horseman, you go out with Ben Shao first. Wang Kai waved his hand and said calmly. Wang, without waiting for the Headless Knight to react, he waved his hand and brought him out of the unbreakable divine prison. Meanwhile, in the outside world, one of the 4 domain masters had already been killed by the Black Widow. Although the remaining 3 were still fighting together, their moods were incomparably heavy. As they fought, they were also on guard against the Black Widow, fearing that they would be killed by her if they were careless. Even though they knew very well that no matter how alert they would not be able to defeat the Black Widow, they had no choice but to do so for the sake of their hearts. Headless Horseman, it's the Headless Knight. Even he's out. When Wang Kai and the Headless Horseman appeared, the 3 domain masters immediately stopped and stared at the Headless Horseman in horror. It was fine that the Black Widow from the Divine Luo period had appeared, but now the Headless Knight had appeared. It should be known that the Headless Knight was hundreds or even thousands of times stronger than the Black Widow. At that time, their reputations were not on the same level at all. I need to make a breakthrough. It will take about 2 hours. The Headless Knight was different from the Black Widow. After coming out of the unbreakable divine prison, he did not show any joy. His voice and tone were calm. Well, you should know why Ben Shao chose to bring you out first. Justice is not a good thing, but it can let Ben Shao know your character and obsession. Go. Wang Kai nodded gently and smiled faintly. The Headless Knight was silent for a moment and then nodded. Without saying anything, he waved his hand and broke the void. His body turned into a black smoke and disappeared into it. It seems that the 3 of them can't live either. The Black Widow blinked her beautiful eyes and covered her face with a smile. As smart as she was, she naturally understood that Wang Kai wanted the 3 domain masters to all die. The words first were extremely obvious. Yes, he's only the first. Quickly kill the other 3. Wang Kai did not hide anything. Rather than subduing the 3 domain masters who were only grade 7 martial disciples, it would be better to control the experts in the unbreakable divine prison. After all, the difference in cultivation between the 2 sides was too great. Even the weakest Black Widow could easily take the life of a domain master. Such combat power would not be of much use if he controlled it. Did you hear that? The Black Widow blinked her beautiful eyes and asked with a playful smile. Whoosh! The faces of the 3 domain masters darkened, and their eyes were filled with anger and unwillingness. Even so, their hearts were filled with endless despair and fear. They knew very well that it was wishful thinking to live. We're willing to surrender. Stop. No need. Ben Shao doesn't need trash cultivators like you. Just as the 3 domain masters were about to speak and make a final effort to survive, they were coldly rejected by Wang Kai. Among the 4 domain masters, the only female had been killed by the Black Widow. The remaining 3 men were pitifully weak. What was the use of having them? Ha! It seems that I killed the right person. The Black Widow moved her red lips and smiled coquettishly. Hearing this, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched. This woman killed the only female domain master because she did not want him to come into contact with her. Buzz. Bang. 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 Suddenly, with 3 loud bangs, the 3 domain masters did not even have a chance to react. Their bodies were directly smashed into pieces by the Black Widow's slap. Their flesh and blood splattered in the air. Even a domain master had died so easily. Many of the spectators swallowed their saliva as they stood dumbfounded on the spot. They swore that they had never imagined that someone would be able to kill a domain venerate so easily. Even a domain lord could not defeat him. In their eyes, a territorial lord was already the strongest, but even a territorial venerable was so weak and frail. If that was the case, just how strong was the Black Widow? How strong was the young man, Wang Kai, who could command the Black Widow? No wonder he dared to hold such a martial arts competition. Stupid domain master, stupid domain master, stupid and ignorant us. Many cultivators shook their heads and sighed. They turned around and left silently. No matter what Wang Kai wanted to do, they were not in the mood to stay any longer. Coming here, They were completely like idiots being played by Wang Kai without even realizing it. This was a huge blow to them. "Oh, the 7 of you follow Ben Shao," Wang Kai said to the 7 domain masters with his hands behind his back. Chapter 9:16. Whoosh. The 7 territorial lords trembled and looked at each other. They felt that their throats were dry and they could die of thirst at any time. Their hearts were pounding as if they were going to jump out of their throats. No one knew why Wang Kai had called them over. They did not dare to ask. One could imagine how they felt. "You stay here and protect the headless horseman." Wang Kai frowned and said in a low voice. Black Widow nodded gently. Although Wang Kai did not say it clearly, she knew that she had to protect the headless horseman to prevent the chaotic martial master from suddenly appearing. Although Black Widow could not change anything and was no match for the chaotic martial master, she could at least prevent the headless horseman from discovering her. Crack! As the void was torn apart by Wang Kai, the 7 territorial lords followed behind respectfully. Other than the 4 territorial lords, are there any other experts who are at the same level as them, or stronger? In the void, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked plainly. When they heard this, the 7 region lords were all stunned. They looked at each other and hesitated. For a long time, they didn't say a word. However, their actions proved that there were. Although they did not say it out loud, it was a hint. They used another method to answer Wang Kai. Wang Kai shrugged and looked at them playfully. He smiled and said, "You guys are smart. However, Ben Shao wants to know who that person is. Where is he?" Whoosh. Hearing this, the faces of the 7 territorial lords turned green. They all looked at Wang Kai bitterly. They looked like puppies who had been wronged. It was really pitiful. "Say it. Whoever says it first will not only receive Ben Shao's protection, but also the supreme position in the entire sky domain." Wang Kai said plainly with his hands behind his back. A supreme position. Receive protection? However, even though Wang Kai had given such a promise, the 7 region leaders were still hesitant and didn't dare utter a single word. Regarding this, Wang Kai's subordinates were very unhappy. Naturally, he knew that the reason why they did not dare to say anything was because they believed that he was not as good as the chaotic martial master. If it had been any other time, Wang Kai would have bragged about his strength and trampled on the mysterious chaotic martial master until he was worthless. But now, how could he dare to brag? Once he bragged that he was awesome, the system would definitely enter an update period. Damn it, Ben Shao will tolerate it. Wang Kai's face darkened as he glared fiercely at the 7 domain leaders. He gritted his teeth and sneered. "You don't want to talk, right? Since that's the case, 6 people will be paired with a sow. As a woman, you will be paired with a boar. That feeling should make you go crazy." No. Suddenly, just as Wang Kai finished speaking, the female region leader cried out in alarm. The other 6 region leaders were so frightened that they were trembling. If not for their strong willpower, they would have been scared to death on the spot. With a boar and a sow. Just the thought of that scene was enough to make one go mad, crazy. No. If you don't want to, then say it. With Ben Shao's protection, who can, cough cough. Anyway, you have to say it. Halfway through his sentence, Wang Kai hurriedly recalled what he wanted to say and secretly felt very aggrieved. If he had said what he had said just now, he would definitely reach the 10th grade sovereign level, and the system would enter an update period. At this moment, Wang Kai really couldn't bear the feeling, but he had no choice but to endure it. Letting a person who bragged every day not be able to do so was even more unbearable than killing him. I'll say it. Suddenly, the female region leader in the green dress took a step forward and bit her red lips. Her beautiful eyes were filled with helplessness as she cried out loudly with tears in her eyes. "Oh, you look fresh and fresh, with a good figure and good skin. Say it, Ben Shao will not only protect you, but also reward you." Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at her while laughing playfully. However, if these words had been said before, the female region leader in the green dress would have been pleasantly surprised. But now there was no joy at all. After all, she didn't know if she would be killed if she said it. He is Red Dust Taoist from the Thundercloud Sea. He claims to be from the land of chaos. His purpose is to find a person. When Shenluo knew about the chaotic realm, it was all because of him. He was also the one who gave Shenluo advice. He is also the 7th person in the sky domain that can accommodate a chaos-level warrior. The female region leader in the green dress said with a trembling voice, Red Dust Taoist. He came from the land of chaos. To find a person, the sky domain could accommodate 6 chaos-level warriors, but he was the 7th. After hearing this series of information, Wang Kai frowned deeply. The bad feeling in his heart became more and more serious. After all, a chaos-level warrior from the chaotic realm was definitely not simple. Although through this matter, he knew how Shenluo knew about the chaotic realm, but now, it was no longer important. Who is he looking for? Is there any clear information? Wang Kai frowned and asked in a serious tone. I'll say it. He is looking for a native who was born in the lower realm, in a place called Fan State. I'll say it too. Moreover, that native is the grandson of a marshal from the Fan State dynasty. He didn't say what his surname was. Maybe he doesn't know, but there's a Kai in it. All right, he also said that he was looking for that person's soul, not his body. Following the successive speeches of several domain lords, Wang Kai was directly dumbfounded on the spot. Came from Fan State, the grandson of a marshal from the dynasty, and had a Kai in his name. This was not important. More importantly, he was looking for the soul, not the body. What's going on? Isn't he looking for me? Looking for my soul? Does he know that my soul doesn't belong to this world? Or does he know about the system? Or does he know that I was reborn into this world? Who is he? What does he want? A series of questions appeared in Wang Kai's mind and lingered for a long time. An unprecedented sense of horror filled his heart. Taoist Hong Chun only told the 4 region masters and us 8 region leaders about this. Oh no, now it's the 7 of us. That's right, he wants us to help him find. The 7 region leaders saw that Wang Kai's expression was ugly and quickly spoke up to take credit. Bin Xiao knows. You can all leave. Wang Kai frowned and waved his hand weakly. Whether the person he met this time was an enemy or a friend was still unknown. However, he was unprecedentedly mysterious and strong. Even Wang Kai felt a little uneasy because of this. Since he's a chaos-level warrior and a chaos-level martial master from the chaotic realm, why can't he find me? Does he not have the ability? Impossible. Then what's the reason? Various thoughts flashed through Wang Kai's mind, making him feel even more uneasy. In the end, it turned into anger. He roared, F***CKU. No matter who it is, as long as they dare to act tough in front of Bin Xiao, even if all the chaos-level martial artists from the chaotic realm came, Bin Xiao would still flick their heads one by one and destroy them. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the sovereign realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the sovereign realm. You've received 100 star source points. Congratulations to the host for successfully meeting the requirements of the system update. The system will enter the update period F***CK. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai was stunned. Chapter 917. Host, Wang Kai Profession, Star Warrior Realm, 10th Grade Dominator Star Technique, Karma Dao Technique Star Technique, Dao Tremor Punch, Absolute Isolation, Extermination Equipment, Heavenly Halberd Star Power, Level 10 Bragging Points, 0 Experience Points, 0 when a system page appeared in front of him. Wang Kai was already in a daze. The Torch Dragon's eye with the recognition function is gone. The Vanishing Shadow function is also gone. Thousands of star source points, hundreds of thousands of bragging points, my title, even my experience points have become 0. Regarding this, Wang Kai suffered a huge blow. Now only the Star Technique, Heavenly Halberd, and the 10th Grade Dominator Rel were left. Fortunately, the 10th Grade Star Power was still there. As long as he did not fight with the chaotic level warriors, Wang Kai could still be invincible in the heavenly domain. Even if the resurrection function was gone, Wang Kai believed that he would not meet a strong enemy who could kill him. Of course, the chaotic level warriors were an exception. Damn it, this is troublesome. The vanishing shadow function is also gone. Doesn't this mean that the 5 chaotic level warriors under Benshio's control are disobedient? Wang Kai frowned with a sullen expression. Black Widow was not much of a threat. After all, she did not intend to resist him. There were still 3 chaotic level warriors in the unbreakable divine prison. Fortunately, they were not released. Now, there are only 2 left who are a threat to me. That mysterious Taoist Hong Chun, the chaotic level warrior, and the headless knight who is breaking through. Various thoughts flashed through Wang Kai's mind. All of a sudden, he felt a chill down his spine. Quickly take Ben Xiao away from this place. Hide your whereabouts. Wang Kai frowned and secretly sent a voice transmission to Black Widow. Black Widow, who was outside the void, heard this and frowned slightly. She looked at the void where Wang Kai was in puzzlement and turned to enter. He did not bother about the headless knight who was breaking through. The Black Widow was different from the headless knight. From the beginning, she was not controlled by Wang Kai using the vanishing shadow ability. Hence, she did not know what had happened. The headless horseman is still breaking through. Don't worry about him. Quickly take Ben Xiao and leave this place. You must remember that he is also an enemy. Wang Kai frowned and said with a serious expression, All right, Wang. With that, the Black Widow grabbed Wang Kai's shoulder without any hesitation. She turned around and disappeared. At the same time, the 3 chaotic martial artists in the unbreakable divine prison felt their bodies lighten. When they looked down, they discovered that their shadows had all appeared. Could it be that he's dead? The boy in the undergarment exclaimed. The old man with the tobacco pipe had a dark expression on his face. He said in a deep voice, He would never be so kind as to let our shadows go. With these words, it was obvious that Wang Kai was dead. You 2 idiots. The burly man's sharp voice came from underground. Waves of murderous intent shrouded the boy in the undergarment and the old man. The shadows had returned. The strongest chaotic martial artist, the burly man who should have been immobilized by Wang Kai, had also regained his freedom. He did not think much about whether Wang Kai was dead or not, nor did he think about why the shadows had returned. He only thought about taking the lives of the prison head and the boy in the undergarment. It was just a joke. You still remember it. Don't talk nonsense with him. We are no match for him now. Let's go. The boy in the undergarment and the old man with the tobacco pipe turned around and quickly rushed into the city. 9th grade chaotic martial disciple. In the outside world, the headless knight let out a long sigh. No matter how hard he worked, no matter how much he accumulated, he could not break through to the chaotic martial master realm. It seems that if I want to reach the chaotic martial master realm, I have to find the red dust Taoist. My shadows. Wang Kai and the Black Widow. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, the headless knight burst out laughing after being stunned for a short while. He immediately turned into a black smoke and quickly chased after the Black Widow and Wang Kai. At the same time, in every corner of the Qingyun starry sky, beams of green light dotted the sky. Who wants to sneak attack your Uncle Liu? Bastard. I, Lung Feng, am not afraid. Brother, what is going on? Wang Kai. Wang Kai. Wherever the green light passed, one person or even many people would mysteriously disappear. Among them were Fatso Liu, Lung Feng, Qin Run, Jing Xian, Li Lingxian. Everyone who was related to Wang Kai, knew him, or came from the same place was taken away by the green light and mysteriously disappeared. Regardless of whether they were enemies, friends, or confidants, they were all taken away by the green light. What is going on? Why do I feel so uneasy? What is going on? Wang Kai, whose shoulder was grabbed by the Black Widow, was escaping into the depths of a mountain. He frowned deeply and clutched his chest with one hand. He had a strong sense of uneasiness. Why are you running? Crack! Before Wang, Kai could react. The void was torn apart, and the headless knight, riding on a headless warhorse, appeared. He was looking down at Wang Kai and the Black Widow from the sky. Run? F***CKU. Bin Xiao is such an awesome person. Why would he need to run? This young master spit. Oh no, piss could drown you to death. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows, gritted his teeth, and sneered disdainfully. As expected, no matter how much he bragged, the system did not prompt him to receive a reward. Such a situation made Wang Kai realize the reality and become more and more uneasy. This uneasiness was due to his own danger, but more than that, it was inexplicable. He felt that something bad had happened. However, no matter how he thought about it, Wang Kai could not figure out what had happened. Headless Knight, how dare you speak to young Master Wang like that? The Black Widow frowned and clenched her fists. She reprimanded in a cold tone. Ha ha, young Master Wang? Black Widow, don't you realize that your shadow has already returned to your body? He can no longer control us. The Headless Knight laughed loudly. His laughter was filled with carefreeness. Shadow? Control? What do you mean? Regarding this, the Black Widow was extremely puzzled. She subconsciously looked at the shadow beneath her feet. You don't know? The Headless Knight's laughter stopped abruptly when he saw this. Soon after, he said in a deep voice, "Looks like it wasn't for nothing when he brought you out of the unbreakable divine prison first. He controlled my shadow, but not yours. Stop spouting nonsense. What do you want?" The Black Widow scolded. As a chaotic warrior, she naturally felt the Headless Knight's strong, murderous intent. Moreover, that murderous intent was obviously directed at Wang Kai. Chapter 9:18. What do I want? It's simple. Although I don't know why he returned to Shadow, I think that now is the best time to kill him. As long as I kill him, no one in the Sky region can stop my justice except for Red Dust Taoist. The Headless Knight said coldly. Red Dust Taoist. Before Black Widow could respond, Wang Kai frowned deeply. He did not expect the Headless Horseman to know about the existence of Red Dust Taoist. Even Black Widow did not know about him. Did you intend to hide it from Ben Xiao? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and grinned. You didn't ask. If you did, I wouldn't have dared to hide it from you. The Headless Knight said indifferently. You want to kill me? Wang Kai continued to ask. That's right. Your technique of stripping the shadow is very dangerous. You can enter the 9 Palace Plate, preserve your cultivation, enter and leave at will, and even take away the power of the cultivators inside. I'm not happy about that. The Headless Knight said indifferently. Not happy? Wang Kai sneered disdainfully. He flipped his hand and took out the Sky Piercer from his waist. He said disdainfully, Why are you not happy? To put it bluntly, you're just afraid of Ben Xiao. You want to fight with me? If he surrendered, perhaps it will be less painful. But it's fine. With your insignificant cultivation, you won't feel any pain no matter how you fight. The Headless Knight said indifferently. His tone was full of contempt. Your bragging is really loud, ah? Are you saying that Ben Xiao's life and death will be decided in an instant in your hands? F***CKU. Isn't this the time when you begged Ben Xiao to take you out of the unbreakable divine prison? Now you want to overturn the heavens? Wang Kai sneered disdainfully. Buzz. I'll fight him. Leave quickly. Black Widow's delicate body flashed and suddenly appeared in front of Wang Kai. She flipped her hand and slapped him into the void. Wang Kai, who was unable to control his movement, had a dark expression on his face. Blue veins could be seen on his forehead as he clenched his teeth so hard that cracking sounds could be heard. Not to mention the Headless Knight. Even if it was the Black Widow, the current Wang Kai would not have the slightest ability to resist. They could only passively be brought far away by its power. Are you in love with him? Are you really tempted? The Headless Horseman was not in a hurry to chase after her, nor did he try to stop her. He knew very well that he had not successfully broken through to become a chaotic martial master. Even if he could defeat the Black Widow, it would be extremely strenuous. They simply did not have the leisure to detain Wang Kai under the obstruction of the Black Widow. It has nothing to do with love, nor is it moved. It's just like the justice he used to talk about. Because of him, we obtained freedom. Since that's the case, we should be grateful. Black Widow's eyes flickered slightly. She pursed her red lips and said faintly, "But you don't look as hypocritical as you said." The headless horseman flipped his hand and took out his battle spear. As he waved it, streams of black gas gathered and lingered around it. Although I have not reached the chaotic martial master realm, it is enough to deal with you. Arrogant. You and I are both grade 9 chaotic martial disciples. Even if our fighting power is much weaker than yours, it will not be easy for you to take me down. Black Widow scolded coldly and angrily. You should know very well that you will be the one to lose in the end. The one to die will also be you. As for that Wang Kai, no matter where he escapes to, he will eventually die. The headless horseman said indifferently. Buzz. However, the Black Widow did not care about this. She flipped her hand and took out a long sword. As she swung it, streams of green light circulated. I'm willing to do this. Swoosh. With that, the Black Widow's feet moved and her delicate body floated up into the sky. She waved her long sword and the chaotic energy gathered ferociously, directly attacking the headless horseman. Just as the Black Widow had said, she had no intention of living. From a moment she sent Wang Kai away, everything had been decided. You are very unwilling. Without the protection of the Master of Chaos, you have no way to deal with it. You have nowhere to vent your anger, right? Still in the void, Wang Kai, who was passively floating at rapid speed, suddenly heard an old man's sigh and laughter. The protection of the Master of Chaos? Who are you? What are you talking about? Wang Kai frowned. His face was ferocious, and his veins were bulging as he gritted his teeth and questioned. No matter how hard he tried, with his grade 10 sovereign cultivation, it was impossible for him to go against the Black Widow's chaotic energy. If he had the system, he could naturally use his bragging points to remove the chaotic energy that was driving his body. However, the system had already entered the update period. The reason why you were able to reach such heights in less than 10 years from Fan Province isn't at all because of the protection of the Master of Chaos. As the old man's voice sounded again, Wang Kai became increasingly impatient. Bin Xiao doesn't know anything about the Master of Chaos, nor does he know about his bullshit protection. If you have the ability to stop Bin Xiao, quickly do it. In the future, Bin Xiao will definitely find you 180 beauties and give you a good time. Hearing this, the ethereal voice fell silent for a moment. You still don't know how to repent. Such a character cannot survive in the chaotic realm. Since you are the chosen one of the Master of Chaos, you should have the dignity and self-discipline of the Master of Chaos successor. Go F***CK yourself. Repent, repent, repent. Bin Xiao was born to be so awesome and arrogant. He doesn't care who he is. If they're not convinced, then he will just F***CK them up. Tell me, what are you here for? Are you trying to show off? Or are you here to watch the show? Wang Kai frowned and spat disdainfully. Even though he no longer had the system, the pride in his bones and the blood that burned with pride could not make Wang Kai Shue admit defeat and tolerate. Forget it. You are the chosen one of the Master of Chaos. I'm not qualified to change anything about you. My name is Red Dust Taoist. I came to the Qing Yun Starry Sky because of an order from the Master of Chaos. Now that you have appeared, I can send you to the chaotic realm. As for whether you can survive there, it will depend on your own ability. You don't need to worry about your friends and lovers, and you don't need to worry about your past enemies either. They are all under my protection in the Thundercloud Sea. If there is a day when you have the ability to return here, then come to the Thundercloud Sea. Wait, send me to the chaotic realm? What do you want to do? I'm not going. Don't be a busybody. Wang Kai roared with a ferocious face. Now that the system had entered the update period, it was difficult to survive in the Qing Yun Starry Sky. If he went to the chaotic realm, wouldn't he be digging his own grave? Moreover, whether Red Dust Taoist was trustworthy, what was the Master of Chaos? whether the Black Widow could defeat the Headless Knight, etc. All these made Wang Kai feel uneasy. You can obtain immortality in the true sense there. You don't want her confidants, friends, and relatives to die one day, do you? This is the message of the Master of Chaos. I will pass it on to you. F*CK, the Master of Chaos. To hell with your undying and indestructible. Ben Shao wants to stay. If you dare to send Ben Shao to the chaotic realm, Ben Shao will skin you alive and torture you. You have no choice. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.